All right, folks, this week's guest is Benny Pellegrino. I think you guys are going to enjoy this chat. I know I did. Now, Benny is one of those gems in snowboarding, one of those key people behind the scenes that makes our community great in so many ways. He cares. He came up as a shop kid and then became a shop manager over at Milo Sport and then eventually an owner. And since then, he has moved on to becoming a guy behind the scenes over at Nitro Snowboards and the Foundry here in Utah. And he's just dedicated his life to our culture. So I think he's got a great perspective in this episode behind the scenes as a shop owner. He knows and understands this industry so well. So I think you guys are going to enjoy this episode. This episode is brought to you by Bubs, Nidecker, Autumn, Pub Beer, and Gozney. So thank you so much to our sponsors for coming on board and supporting us. And lastly, thank you so much to our Patreon members. Benny's an avid Patreon member. Actually, you've probably heard his questions. So I just appreciate everybody that supports the show so we can put all of our effort towards the podcast. It's so incredible that people come and support us with their hard-earned money. So I just want to say thank you so much to our Patreon members. We couldn't do this without you. And with that being said, let's just get into it. The Benny Pellegrino episode. Here we go.
You are listening to the
Hey, MFM. See you on the lips.
Back attack, dude.
Hey, yo, homies.
Slide down the big hills. You know what I mean? On the big, nice burgundy snowboard.
All right, welcome to the Bomb Hole, which is presented by Run Through Wall Smelling Salts. Today in studio, we got Jeremy Jones co-hosting. What's happening, Jeremy?
Not a lot. Stoked to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Love having you and Stu. Always a pleasure. We got also Silk D, the master of production, in studio. How we feeling, Silk?
Feeling great. It's going to be a good episode. Excited for this one.
Love that.
No doubt.
And then we got Benny Pellegrino in the hot seat. What's happening, Benny?
Just chilling, taking a day off from work, hanging with the bros.
Ooh. Is this PTO or are we sick day? What are we doing here?
PTO, bro, management.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Love that. So let's do this, Benny. I know that you live in Salt Lake. You've lived here for a long time, but you're not from here. Where'd you grow up?
Northern California. Born in actually New Jersey. That's where my
Really?
roots are at. Princeton, New Jersey. My dad worked in a telecommunications industry. Got moved over to the Bay Area. That's where all my good formative memories are, though, are in the Bay Area. Danville, California. We're actually from a little tiny town called Alamo next to it. But it's in the Bay Area. It is where I learned how to skateboard, where I caught the bug, where I first saw my first snowboard, where everything happened.
Can we talk about that period in time? Like, when was that? And also, what was happening around that time in skateboarding in the Bay Area?
Northern California in the early 80s is my first time seeing a skateboard. I mean, I've seen the banana boards, the little plastic ones with clay wheels and metal wheels. I'd try to ride them, and I'd be like, those things don't work very good, you know? And then I remember when we lived in Alamo, California, we grew up on a golf course in this country club community area. Really smooth roads everywhere. And I kept hearing some skateboard go rolling down the street. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I would just keep hearing it, and I'd catch a glimpse and I'd see somebody skating down the road. I'm like, I got to go find out, what that dude's all about. His name was John Sender. And he lived a block down and up this court at the top of the hill. I kind of forgot about it after, I was got my first inkling of it and became interested. And then one time I heard that quintessential noise. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? And it was a fucking skateboarder riding a half pipe. And I had to go figure out what was going on. So I went up the street, and in the backyard, I could just see the back of it, just like at Jeremy's house or anyone's, house. All you can see just the back of it is the deck and people standing on it, holding skateboards facing the other way. And I'm like, what the fuck are they doing back there? I don't remember ever seeing anyone in a pool or anything on TV or anything before that. And that was probably in 83, 84, 7th, 8th grade. And so I yelled to John, and he recognized me from, junior high school. And I was all, John, can I come back here and check that out? And that was it, man. Fucking from then on, the fire was lit. I borrowed a skateboard. I tried to learn how to ride the half pipe. And that's where it went.
Amazing. And around that time, too, is like pretty exciting. It's like kind of the birth of skateboarding. And then especially NorCal, like home of Thrasher, and
Completely.
and you're in the Mecca.
Yeah. So from then on, it was a quick fucking high-speed dive into skateboarding culture. I instantly found all the other kids. It's crazy how when you find a skateboard, you can instantly find out who's skaters, probably from the ramp for one, but you can just start recognizing people that they skate, or you hear somebody's brother who skates, whatnot. There wasn't that many of us at that point, so you kind of seek them out. And like I said, it wasn't very long before all of a sudden we were, crewing up, skating everywhere, fucking bombing hills in the neighborhood, trying to learn how to four-wheel drift, doing all the things, And in NorCal, for sure, you start realizing that you're just a younger crowd. All of a sudden you figure that your brother tells you like, oh, hey, one of my good friends skateboards, he has a half pipe. And then you get thrown into that older culture. Like all of a sudden you go to this backyard and it's high school kids. And it's a totally different deal, You're fucking terrified for one. But that's one of the coolest things, just real quick side note, about skateboarding and snowboarding that I always think is so fucking awesome. You can be at the skate park rapping out with this fucking 11-year-old, just high-fiving them and whatnot, and then you turn to your left and it's me, 55. It's really fucking cool. Skateboarding and snowboarding has no age in the culture. And I've always I don't know if that's one of the things that drew me in, but it always got me so fucking excited to be like, wow, all of a sudden when they see that you can handle them, they're hazing and shit talking and whatnot, then you just become a part of the crew no matter how fucking old you are. It's always been so cool. But NorCal, there was just so many opportunities. It was kind of the death of skate parks. So we didn't really have any skate parks. That was like the rise of the ramp era. That's where skateboarding went to the backyards. It probably did it in the 70s with pools, but in my era, it was ramps. Like that's what we did. We built fucking ramps, So once we started meeting everyone, older dudes started explaining to us, oh, you can buy ramp plans from Thrasher, and it was the coolest thing in the world. Fucking, you get this little zine, and it's how to build a ramp. And next thing you know, I'm asking my mom. She's all, no, you got to ask your dad. And my dad just said no every single time until once he went to South America for 3 weeks on a business trip. My mom said, build it. And so we built the fucking ramp. And my dad got home and there it was. And she's like, if it's going to keep them home, we're building the ramp in the backyard.
Good mom.
And so fucking awesome. It was like fast forward again. Now I'm the one with the ramp. Now there's other people looking over the fence. And I've always been so inclusive. I'm like, fucking anyone that looks over the fence and says they want to ride can come on back. And it just created our whole formative years, our crew. I have like lifelong friends that I still talk to that are in skateboarding and out of skateboarding, in snowboarding. Not so much that wasn't even a part of it yet, but just in and out of skateboarding. Lifelong friends made from fucking eating shit on that ramp.
What size ramp?
It was kind of weird. We could only fit, we wanted to do 16 feet, but my mom said you got to leave room so they could fucking get the lawnmower out of the shed to go mow the lawn. So we had to leave room. So it was 12 feet wide, 6 feet tall on one side, 8 feet on the other.
Damn, taco.
8 feet of flat,
Wow.
8 foot tranny. So 8 feet was to vert.
Holy
and the
shit.
6 feet was, like whatever, fucking steep. And this is the craziest fucking thing is we had no idea. We're like, we can't afford plywood. So we would just go fucking, lumber yards were aplenty in that era. So we would go borrow some wood and it was just always the scraps, and then we fucking realized we're doing it wrong because you couldn't keep your speed because it was so kinky. Just gunk. And then we finally fucking went out one night and stole a bunch of wood and plied the whole thing. And we're like, holy shit, this is the way to go. But it was definitely a little hell pit. I mean,
Yep.
It taught me how to fucking eat shit,
As they were.
8 foot
Yeah.
trannies, divert, like you fucking crashed hard.
Not a lot of long grinds happening.
Yeah,
here.
no. My brother got into skateboarding, soon got out of it because he fucking shoved his arm into his chest, eating shit one day, and he was over it.
You skated with Benny, Jer?
Oh, yeah. I have a long history of different sessions in eras. And I mean, they go back to what, 97 we took a trip.
Yeah.
I took a
But
trip
before
to
that,
NorCal.
just the ramp we had built behind Milo.
And the ramp we built behind Milo. And then before that, I would see Benny at Mrs. C's. So this is 1992. And it was just him and his homies. And they were on the mostly on the 9-foot or the vert ramp, which was just a coveted place for. I mean, I was doing flyouts on the 9-foot. You know, that was my mode.
How's Benny in there? Is he nice with it?
Dude, Benny's so nice with it. When I think of that ramp that you just described, like it fits his skating profile like to a T, because the dude goes super fast. To this day, I can guarantee he skates just like he did 20 years ago. He does the same tricks, super fast 5.0s, tail slides, Smith grinds, body jars, lean to tails. Like, this is Benny, and it's across the entire ramp. So if there was 12 feet of ramp, he used 11 feet, 11 inches. Is that right?
Yeah, it is.
I mean, literally. And he is an impressive skater at every age I've seen him.
How old are you, Benny?
55.
So
54. I'll be 55 soon.
We rode last year at Pall Mall, still shredding, still getting after it, still hauling ass, busting, still skating. Still mountain biking?
Yes.
You know, a lot of people say 55, you gotta hang the shit up and move on. What's the key? What's the key to the fountain of youth?
Fucking never stop, man.
Thank you.
Like, never, ever stop.
Right.
Like, not only that, I will go fucking crazy if I don't get to do one of those things at least 3 or 4 times a week. Minimum.
So
if
good.
not more. I can't, like, you could ask my lady Tori, like, we'd be on a vacation, like, down at her parents' house or somewhere wherever. And I'm like, I gotta go skate. And she's like, I know, go. And I'm like, and, the parents like, what are you doing? We're about to have lunch. I'm like, I have to go do something. Same thing with a mountain bike or snowboarding. Like, I have to fucking do it. It's for my sanity level. It's for mostly, I think it's a time to tune out. When all I think about is shredding and camaraderie and homies and environment. You know, whether it's skating in a backyard pool or standing on top of fucking some mountain. It's just never, ever stop.
I have a question on, those 3 things: skating, snowboarding, and mountain biking, since you touched on those 3. Those are 3 things that I enjoy as well. But skating, it actually trumps all of it still. I'm curious if that's the same way for you. No matter, everything serves a purpose and has a place, but nothing like empties me like skateboarding does. Nothing.
For
like
me,
mentally,
I think
physically.
What I'm searching for out of all 3 of them at all times is the feeling when you pop out on the deck and you just had a good run. The feeling when you fucking slam on your brakes and fucking skid sideways and be like, holy fuck, that was dope. Or snowboarding, where it's like just high fives. Like, it's that same feeling that I get from all 3. And it's not, I can't say for myself, one trumps any of them, but they can all replace each other super easily.
I see.
So I can go skating and it makes me not have to, I don't feel like I missed out on biking.
Yeah.
I can go snowboarding and I didn't feel like, I missed a skate session. I'm like, I still got that same fucking feeling. And I think it is the actual way I do it all comes from skateboarding. Meaning my route finding on my bike, my line choice,
Good point.
shredding the mountain. Like, none of us are fucking just looking down the hill when we're going down the mountain.
No,
We're just
100%.
scanning all fucking times for something, a gap, a fucking ollie, a tranny just to pump. Something to just nose ollie, nollie off of
Just
something.
jibbers.
Just always
everything.
searching. And it translates to skateboarding. It translates to snowboarding, and that translates to biking. I know you guys have the same feeling. When I'm biking, I don't feel like I'm racing by any means. I'm not a racer in fucking mountain biking, that's for damn sure. But I do like to go fast and fucking seek out sick lines.
Yep.
Totally.
Yep. And it's also, it's really easy to like wake up and do, like I've been skating at 7:00 in the morning and it's, God, to get the chassis going.
Oh, yeah.
Like on a mountain bike or a dirt bike or a bike in general, like when you're at the top of the hill, you just go. And you don't have to like let your body wake up. You're just like, we're in it. Here we go. Where, to get your legs to coordinate to do a 3-flip or something, you got to dig deep. But
yeah, the skateboarding takes a little bit more warm up. That's for
more,
damn
it
sure.
takes a little longer. I have a question. Oh, go ahead.
Test.
Oh, not only that, but the fucking fear of a quick fucking morning slam on a skateboard, dude. There's a true fucking fear of that.
Yeah. I have another question too. Johan said that he'll catch you grabbing your skateboard in the vert ramp. You'll be, doing an air, but not grab your snowboard.
Fucking, it's not going to fall off. Ever. Necessity. I do grab. He forces me to grab all the fucking time. And he's all, come on. And I'll fucking do it. He's like, I didn't think you could do it. And I'm like, it's hooked to your feet. I just like the fucking power ollie. I like slashing. I like to grab if it feels like that particular, like if it's a hip, a tail grab. Like if it's fucking backside hip, like if it feels like it's going to flow into my hand. I don't force a grab. If that makes sense.
It totally makes sense.
Yeah, because I think some people
really
are so down for always doing tricks, and for me, it's just like the spot will tell you whether or not to do that. Mm-hmm. We were just watching Women's Olympics here right before I came, and it was so fucking crazy to watch like girls or just any skaters in general, contest skaters, like in this fucking insane bowl, and you're like, God, if they would just do one less trick, they could just pump that fucking wall and blast.
Yep.
And it's just they're so trained to like, I got to do a trick, but as opposed to like, their line choice is not steering them towards that trick.
Very linear.
Yeah.
Instead of flowing around the...
Yeah, exactly. And it was just like, God, it's going to be so cool to watch when those girls do show up at the pool and that's their vibe.
When they're not having a judge.
Exactly. Or they have a coach or something,
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be
insane.
So fucking exciting to watch because the skill level is there. They just need the fucking like freedom to blast.
And the age, dude. They still have decades.
I know.
They are the youngest people.
Yeah, the oldest
ever.
girl I think was 19.
But
it's
guaranteed
crazy.
that the practice is probably fun to watch because they are pumping around and blasting airs.
Yeah. It was really fucking cool to watch. But yeah, the snowboard does not fucking fall off. And that comes from something I heard from Mark Frank a long fucking time ago.
Your skateboard doesn't fall off, though. When you skate, that thing looks like you're strapped in.
The faster you go, the fucking better it sticks to your feet.
Is that your theory? It works.
100%. Not only that, but your crashes aren't as bad.
It's true. It's still scary.
Like sliding out of stuff is so much easier than just fucking body slamming. And the people that skate back and forth, those are the ones that body slam.
Yeah.
People that fucking are constantly ripping around, like the force just takes you the long way down the tranny instead of the short way.
I like this philosophy here. All right, let's keep it moving. So you're in the Bay Area. Somebody was telling me that you were taking the BART train in to go see punk concerts and
Oh,
SF.
shit. That shit was fucking crazy. I don't know how that story came up, but this was a fucking great, just a foreshadowing real quick. One time we were at, I think it was my brother's wedding, like reception weekend. They had taken off and it was in in San Francisco in North Beach, which is right around the corner from a pretty seedy district. And that's where all the punk shows were. We're in this seedy district. So after dinner, everyone's hanging out, drinking coffee. There's like, I'm like, Dad, let's go for a walk. And we go for a walk. We're walking around North Beach and I'm like, let's go down this street. Because I wanted to tell him, like the shit we used to do. But we went down around the corner and he's like, why are we in this neighborhood? I'm like, I want to show you where I was when I was 12, 13, and 14 years old. He's like, what are you talking about? And I just let him know that whole scenario. So now I'll go back to that story. But he was just blown away. He's like, you guys were here? He just couldn't believe it. I mean, there's titty bars, fucking, like, it's nuts. Like, that's the only places punk shows could be. But growing up in the Bay Area, in the greater Bay Area, in any way, whoever the fucking planner was for that area was, thank you very much. But it created these like thoroughfares of public transit that you could get all over the Bay Area. You can get to San Jose, to Oakland, to Marin County, just everywhere. And it was BART, Bay Area Rapid Transit. So we would take, I'd leave my fucking country club house with my family and jump on my skateboard and tell my friends to meet me down at the bus stop, and we'd skate all the way down. We'd jump on the county connection, which took us straight to Walnut Creek, which is the next bigger city that had a major BART station. And we would jump on there and go to San Francisco. We just kept going a little further, basically. We didn't start in San Francisco, but we would go, to Berkeley. Berkeley was our first spot because there was a punk rock record store there called Rasputin's Records where I bought my first punk rock record, and that was fucking amazing. The Clash, just untitled album, just The Clash, a record, and you're skating around all day carrying a fucking record. Stupid as shit. But we would just constantly push it a little farther, Then we got off in Oakland. We're like, fuck Oakland. Oakland's sketchy. Let's not go to Oakland anymore. So then we end up in San Francisco. And San Francisco is just fucking metropolis, mega city. All kinds of crazy shit going on. And we would take it we would go all the way up to Hunters Point and then jump on the thing called the Muni and go to this only skate park in the area right above where Thrasher is, High Speed Productions. It's called The Dish. And I got mugged there twice. One time they took my wallet and we had to figure out how to get money back. Second time, that's the first thing I said. I'm like, please just give me my fucking wallet back. And it's just crazy. Like I fucking literally, the inner city bus got off in front of the skate park and next thing you know, we were just targets.
Yeah.
And they got a couple times there was a hill you could bomb and fucking bomb down the hill to get away from them. But you had to go fucking fast.
You had to be quick. Huh?
Yeah. And people would eat shit and they'd still fucking catch you. But we would go there and zombies. Not even the zombies, just inner city kids. It was all, we were getting robbed by 15-year-olds, 15 to 17-year-olds.
Huh.
And they
what
were
year is this?
These were, so this was probably 85, 84, 85.
Hood.
Yeah, definitely hood. This is the first time I ever went up to any store or anything and I'm like, what's the glass in front of the fucking counter? You had to put the money underneath. It was nuts. But we would go to the city and, skate all fucking day. And then we'd go to these punk shows. There's the Mabuhay Gardens, which was this seedy little, fucking dive bar that was right there in that same district, the Broadway district. And then there was another one called the On Broadway. And that's the one where I really saw my first incredible punk show. And it was the Dead Kennedys. I don't remember who else. I want to say the Circle Jerks, Dead Kennedys and Circle Jerks. It was 21 and over, so we couldn't get in. But you could climb up this. It was on a hill, just like everything is on San Francisco. And it was 3 stories up in the back. And so these people told us, if you climb up the drain pipe in the back, you can jump in through the window. And so we'd fucking one at a time, and we'd all stand there like we're going to catch somebody. There's no way we're going to catch anyone. But we would all sneak in. It was fucking crazy. And it was like you got up to the window, and you're like, oh, my God. And there's people stage diving. It was nuts.
Unreal scene.
And the fucking craziest thing is you had to make sure you caught the last train home, which is at 12:30, which was a fucking battle sometimes because you had to go all the way down to the Embarcadero. And so Embarcadero was right there above, where we were going. We'd go skate Embarcadero as well, but it was on Broadway and all that shit was right above it. But it would just be a fucking beeline as soon as the show was over, pushing as fast as you can to try to get the train. We only missed it once. And we had to spend the whole night in Embarcadero.
I was going to say that where you stayed.
EMB. We stayed EMB.
Sick.
It was fucking insane.
Legendary. Well, I'm going to get into a guest question here. Let's hit one early. And this one is from none other than Andy Hetzel.
Oh, shit.
Here we go.
My dog.
¿Qué tal, amigo? Andy Hetzel here. You're probably a little nervous after throwing me under the bus on that cheesy other podcast thing. But love you, buddy. My question is, how many rolls of Baker duct tape do you have? And then the other one is, were you ever sponsored skating? Because I know you rip. And then, what is your weird fascination with the little dogs? Because it's kind of gone a little over the edge. I love you, buddy. Take care.
Andy, one of my fucking longtime greatest heroes, friends, fucking idols, everything. Just an amazing human.
Those are great questions.
I did throw him under the bus on this other podcast, but they said to ask very inappropriate questions, so I did.
Something about him naked snowboarding or something?
All kinds of shit. That was fucking real shit. It was in the magazine. So
there was, that is multiple things that I'm aware of.
Yes.
Even.
Exactly.
Maybe start with, were you a sponsored skateboarder?
I was. I started out just the Bay Area Thrasher. There was a lot of shit going on. Spitfire, Thunder, Indy, Real, fucking Think, like all the Dogtown, all these companies were out of San Francisco. And we became super good friends with all the city guys, CBS, they were called, City Boys Shred. And we met them through some of the older people in our neighborhood that met all these guys that, when the skate parks were still around. But that was like Tommy Guerrero, Bryce Knights, Shroogie, who helped start, Thunder and Spitfire, Tony Guerrero. Like, there was just a plethora of people in San Francisco. So we would start, hanging out with them. We'd go skating with them all the time. And so I guess my first sponsor would have been Spitfire and Thunder. And that was through Shroog, Steve Ruge, just a fucking incredible individual. He is the guy who owns Ace Trucks with Joey Terche now. But just from skating with him, he's just like, hey, man, I'd love for you to fucking try these wheels. And Spitfire then was this thing called Ground Round. And I realized afterwards the reason they were ground, they just couldn't afford the molds. So they would get wheels and grind them down, and they were all rough. And we were like, fuck yeah, these are ground round. And it's because that's a cheaper way to do it. But then also Thunder Trucks. And that was fucking awesome. I was just so ecstatic to be able to fucking do that. And Shroog's a super good friend. And it was super cool to be able to get free product. The first time you get it, it's just fucking crazy. It's the weirdest feeling in the world. You're like, this is free. I don't have to pay for this. But from then, after that, it was going to San Jose. There was a private warehouse that Jeff Kendall and Corey O'Brien owned. And it was a pay-to-play type place, but you had to be a member. You had to get invited by someone. Someone had to vouch for you to show up, and Kendall and Corey had to okay it. And then you wouldn't automatically get invited to be a member. You had to actually go there and kind of audition or try out or some shit. Mostly, I think they just didn't want any kooks. If you were cool, they wasn't about an ability level or anything. They just didn't want kooks. You could
move through the process pretty fast.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. It was fucking very simple. And next thing you know, you had to pay $20 each time. The first, and after, if they didn't let you in after 3 times, it was over. I don't know who kept these tabs. It was probably no one. They just fucking made it seem so fucking scary that it just went that way. But once you got allowed, you had to pay $100 a month. And you had to fucking hand it to Corey or fucking Kendall. And that was terrifying the first couple times. Corey was so fucking scary. Corey O'Brien. He just was not nice. Always had a fucking Marlboro cigarette in his mouth. Just scary dude. Kendall was fucking amazing. Just one of the most talented skaters I've ever seen. Vert, street, anything. But going down there, we met and became super good friends with a bunch of dudes that skated there a lot. And one of them that would come through all the fucking time was Grosso. So we became super good friends with Grosso. This other guy, Chris Oliveira, and Ross Goodman. And Ross Goodman was a legendary NorCal skater, fucking incredible. So we would go down there. We'd go for the weekends. We'd go stay there. Next thing you know, I'm down there all the fucking time. Chris Oliveira is super good friends with... They all worked at Santa Cruz, too, at this point. So anything you wanted from Santa Cruz, they'd bring home. They packed boxes. They also stole a lot of shit. So they'd bring you home anything and whatnot. But Chris Oliveira was like, hey, man, you should ride for Lucero. And it was John Lucero's company. It's when they were leaving Schmidt Sticks and starting Lucero under NHS. And I was like, that'd be super fucking cool. I'd be fucking honored to do that. And so they started floating me boards. And next thing you know, John comes up, we meet, we fucking hang out, become part of the Lucero family. That in turn goes to Black Label. And then I rode for Label pretty much until I called John. I'm like, you don't need to send me stuff anymore. I don't use it enough. I don't compete. And that's when I moved here. It's when I fucking started staying here in the summers. I used to go home every summer and spend
to Peru, right?
No, that was a long time ago.
Oh, that was back in the day. Okay.
No, I would go home to NorCal and just go skate and go do contests and whatnot because it was a contest season. There was what was it called? I don't remember. Fucking, there was a series that you would do that you would go to regionals, you go to fucking Western qualifiers, and then there was nationals. Same type of shit.
Those are the same ones they talk about in like the Bones Brigade.
Yeah. And Tony Hawk's
runs,
dad used to run it. I forget what the name of it was called.
Yeah, I forget too.
And I keep wanting to say NHS, but obviously that's not it.
Okay, a couple to run through the rest of his questions. The next one was duct tape in reference to bank slalom. How much duct tape?
Baker Bank Slalom. I have 3 rolls of duct tape. No fucking golds, unfortunately. 2 silvers and a bronze.
Damn.
And I'm the king of 2nd and 3rd place in bank slaloms. And I have a theory. Everybody I race is way fucking bigger than me. And it's always a tuck at the end of every single one. And I lose within a second. No matter what.
We need to get rid of the tuck.
Yeah.
You're goofy.
Or I just need to fucking figure out something else because it doesn't seem to stop Nils.
Yeah, Nils is goofy and small and wins everything.
Have you watched him?
Yeah.
He somehow is gyrating while he's fucking in it.
He can constantly tic-tac.
Did you win Bombhole Cup your age group this year?
No,
2nd.
I did not.
Who beat you?
Mike Snow, 2 years in a row.
Dang.
Really?
Brighton Loke.
Nice, Mike.
That fucking hangs on Great Western first in line every single morning.
Oh yeah,
he's also 6'4" and outweighs me by fucking probably 80 pounds.
There's some truth to that because Bodie's huge and rides big boards, and like we start at the same spot for the jump, and he lands in the parking lot, and I like knuckle it. So could be.
It's a real thing.
Yeah,
the weight moves
so
fast.
2 rolls of silver, 1 bronze, and a 2nd and a 3rd in bomb hole.
Yep. Are we still after? We still got our sights on gold at Baker though.
100%.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I like that.
Till the wheels fall off.
Yes.
Till the tape runs out.
Till the tape runs out. What other? I know you got. Let's just talk about these notable bank slalom wins because I know you probably got like Pow Mau. You got to have some other ones, right?
Pow Mau. I've done super good at Pow Mau. I've done super good at Snowbird. That's kind of it. I've never done ones besides the bank slalom at Baker and then these local ones.
Yep.
I haven't really traveled to anything else.
Mm-hmm. Bombhole Cup.
Dirksen? Have you ever done Dirksen one?
No, the last 2 years I've been wanting. This year I was primed to go again. Last year I just couldn't go. Okay, this is crazy. We'll talk about this later, but my last industry trip, when you're a shop guy, you go on all these fucking cool industry trips. The last one that I got invited to was to go to the Dirksen Derby, but I already accepted the job at Nitro. And I felt bad. I'm like, I'm not even going to be here. And they're like, who gives a fuck? Just come anyways. And I was like, no, I feel bad. So I gave it to Jack Stevens.
Damn.
And Jack Stevens went to the Dirksen Derby. So I missed it that time. The next year I tried to go again. And it ended up being when we were a much smaller crew at Nitro when I first started before we had, a lot of growth. So I just couldn't. We were just too fucking busy. And then this year, I just kept watching the weather and I'm like, I am not going to this. Every single thing I see is just that it is a fucking ice rink. And so I didn't go. But I still have it on my list. I really want to fucking go. And Dirksen's a G.
Yeah, Dirksen is a G. Another goofy footer. Okay, last question. Obsession with chihuahuas or small dogs, you said.
I almost brought my little girl Penny, but I forgot she had a fucking vet appointment this morning, so I had to drop her off.
Oh, dude.
I don't know how it happened. The best thing is when Andy was with me the first time we were going to get a little dog. He said, we were up at Snowbird. He was with his wife. They have a timeshare up there, and I get to shred with them up there a few times a year. And he kept saying, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. I did it. I'm fucking infatuated. I'm on Chihuahua number 4. And I fucking love him to death.
And it was so fun going into Milo all the time. And
they were just all the best is they all slept in the same zone. Or Ollie would be asleep under the fucking coat rack. They were just lived everywhere. I got a lot of cool photos of fucking like little kids laying down with them and stuff.
Sick.
Amazing.
Big infatuation with little dogs.
All right, we got a special announcement from Gozney Pizza Ovens and the Bomb Hole. If you go on their site and you type in Bombhole20, you'll get 20% off your Rock Box pizza oven, and these things kick ass. We just did a barbecue for Steven's birthday party. It was a surprise shindig. Kyle brought one of these things over. You plug it into some propane, you throw some dough with some toppings on it, and boom, a minute later, you got a delicious pizza. Cooks at 950 degrees. And I'll tell you, pizza tastes better when you cook it yourself. That's a scientific fact. You'll be a golden god at the cookout with a Gozney pizza oven. So be sure to check them out. They do cool stuff for snowboarding. They support events like Be Somebody, the Dust Box event, and they supported our event, Dogfight, showed up, cooked pizzas for everybody. They were all delicious. So definitely don't sleep on Gozney. It's a great gift for a loved one, great gift for yourself. If you like good food, get yourself a Gozney pizza oven for the backyard. They are awesome. And our special offer is if you go to Gozney.com and you use the promo code BOMBHOLE20, you will save 20% off your Gozney Rock Box. Again, BOMBHOLE20 for 20% off your Gozney Rock Box. You will not be disappointed. So check them out. Cook different with Gozney. All right, we're going to take a quick break and talk to you guys about Pub Beer. They are back as a sponsor. They're the official beer of Cheap Fun and also the official beer of the Bomb Hole. So if you're looking to have a good time with your friends, delete a few cans responsibly, I should say. Have one after work or maybe 14. Wake up in a bush covered in urine. Don't know your own name. Responsibly, I should say, for legal purposes. Choose Pub Beer. You won't regret it. Good stuff. I'm going to change gears here into a fun part of the show. Do I have the sound drop? Here it is. Here we go.
Welcome to Run Through Wall Trivia.
Oh, shit. Can we do Schnee instead?
I'll get a couple doses of Schnee. I'll go. What do you call that?
Look at that toss.
Explain what that is, because it looks way too sketchy, Benny.
I'll go one.
Schneeberg. Go Jeremy Jones over there is
I'm
putting
going
some
light,
on his
though.
leg, on his fucking hand right there. And it is actually a very suspicious white powder, but it is literally wintergreen menthol and glucose. So it's like freaking a little bit of Colgate blast.
It hurts.
Just to clear everything up. We found it in Europe and we're hooked.
Essentially Flonase. It's Flonase.
Yeah,
It's
straight up.
Flonase.
It's basically Flonase, but in a white powder, and it looks insanely sketchy. Okay.
And the residue is kind of punk rock.
Yeah, the residue.
You know?
The residue is sketch. All right, so we're going to run through some, I would say, Utah action sports-based trivia for the most part.
Sweet.
Yeah, just to kind of put you in the lane.
We did this 5 minutes before you walked in the door.
That's all right. That's fucking par for the course.
And basically, Jones, you got 5 seconds to answer each question.
Okay.
If you get it wrong, you got to do a smelling salt. And as soon as you're doing the smelling salt, we're on to the next question.
Okay.
Okay. Again, brought to you by Run Through Wall Smelling Salts, available at bombhole.com. Best smelling salts on the market. All right. First question. What trick did Lizard King do down the Library 4 block in Salt Lake City?
Back 3. Nose grab back 3.
Not the one we're looking for.
That's incorrect. You got to do a smelling salt. Okay, the correct
nice.
answer would be airwalk. Some may call that a scare
yes,
walk.
I remember it.
Scare walk.
Hair
$40
flying.
first try.
What run are you most likely to catch dead lung on at Snowbird in the spring?
Chips.
That's correct. What trick did Jeremy do on the gap rail at Rail Gardens? Gap rail, Rail Gardens. What trick did he do?
Back 3 board slide.
Yeah, sure. That's kind of correct. Back 270.
Yep.
Yep. Give your face a wipe. You look so sketchy right now.
Schnee!
Give your face a wipe, brother. Okay. Next question.
Thanks. Good looking out.
What bird local did a Cab 900 over Chad's Gap?
Bjorn.
That's correct,
Well done.
brother. Nice. You're doing pretty good. Okay. Next question. What company did the Lizard King skate for before Death Wish?
Think.
After that.
Pig.
That's correct, but you kind of got it wrong. But you also got it right. You know, I'll join
They
you.
wasn't even really a board company.
Pigwood. It was Pigwood.
Yeah, but that was just to sell shit.
Oh, God. Yep.
It was just the scraps of everything else.
He never
right?
rode for Hellrose, right?
I don't know the answer to that. This is a question.
I'm gonna say no.
This is a question from Lizard
Fuck, that one
himself.
got my eyes.
What has red hair, talks to itself, and is the
God.
best skater to ever come from Salt Lake?
Who was invited to more fucking team trips and was never invited back? Oliver Buchanan. America, Toy Machine, the list goes on.
All these
Get in the
statements
van,
are true.
Get out of the van.
Okay. What video did George Johnson board slide the Storm Mountain rail?
Oh, shit. Which Chesky video is this? New Jacks.
That's correct.
Nice one, dude.
Nice. You're doing
yeah.
pretty good here.
Fuck.
I hit it first.
Name 5 of the 10 Snowbird chairlifts.
Oh, shit. Chickadee, Wilbur, Little Cloud, Mineral, Baldy Express, Peruvian Express, Gad 1. Gadzoom.
Yeah, I mean, you did really good there. That was 7 out of 10. Baby Thunder, Baldy, Chickadee, Gad 2, Gadzoom, Little Cloud, Mid Gad, Mineral Basin, Peruvian.
Yeah.
Wilbur, which you named. Yes, so that's
Tram's the only one that matters. Not true, but it's funny.
That's a good soundbite, Silk. Save that. Okay, name a Snowbird local who has clips in their video parts spraying skiers at Snowbird.
Mark motherfucking Frank Montoya.
That's correct. Bonus. What snowboarder has clips spraying a skier, but that skier is actually their dad?
Oh, shit.
In a Mac Dog movie, I believe.
At Snowbird?
Yes. Bird local.
It has to be Bjorn.
Do you need another
not
hint?
Bjorn.
You need another
It's not
hint?
Bjorn, it's not MFM.
I need another hint, but I am going to fucking hit a salt.
He spawned from 8 wheels.
Blades.
From 8 wheels.
He's a blader.
He's a blader. Was a
Aaron motherfucking Bittner.
That's correct. There you go.
Respect.
I forget about the Blade posse that they had.
Yep.
Woo!
Jones
Dude,
is
the winter,
Jones,
the smorgasbord is what's up, dude?
Smorgasburg.
Jones
Schneeberg.
looks like he just walked out of the Twilight Lounge at 2 a.m.
What's up, guys?
Circle Lounge.
Do I do it good though?
You're doing just
Would I
fine,
be good?
Jeremy.
You're not experienced enough.
maybe
You're
a
not
little too
experienced enough. Yeah, that's good stuff. So you skated for Spitfire, you skated for Thunder, you skated for Black Label. You know what? Actually, kind of our next question, we should go to Lizard King because it's a long-winded one, but it's kind of fun. So let's hit it.
Let's hear it, Michael.
Where the hell is this thing? All right.
He loves to hear himself talk, and we do too.
Does.
Yeah, I apologize. Usually they're about 30 seconds. We're coming in at 2 minutes on this one. So here we go.
Benny, dude, what is up, dog? It's me, it's Plummy, aka Lizard King, aka your favorite skater. Just admit it to yourself. Anyways, love you so much, dude. Thank you so much for being just like such a rad dude the whole time growing up in Salt Lake. It meant the shit to all of us, like everyone in my age group that got to come to Milo and hang out with you, even though you're an asshole sometimes. I get it. Tough love is love, you know? But anyways, I was wondering, how did you end up in Salt Lake? Why did you choose Salt Lake? It's definitely a weird place to move, I feel like, back in the day when you did end up being in Utah. And also, to go along with that, I was wondering if Milo is a part of like your weird master plan to stay connected to skateboarding and kind of, I don't know, take all of us little shits under your wing and kind of show us the ropes and make sure that we had fun in a good way, an awesome way, and knew what was cool and wasn't cool. Because I owe a lot of that to you. And I love you, dog. You're the best. Shout out to the bomb hole. Ricky, love you, buddy. Benny, you're the shit. And thanks for just being such a huge part of skateboarding back in the day. I don't think I would have gone where I was in my life if it wasn't for you. So anyways, love you, dude. And by the way, all your political bullshit is just okay? Lay off Instagram, buddy. Okay, love you. Bye.
Block me. Classic.
Nice sign off there.
He's
big man.
paying attention.
He is always.
How'd I end up in Utah? Fuck. I was going to school in California after high school. I was like, fuck, what am I going to do? I don't know what I want to do. I went to community college, was taking classes, liked it. Did good. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to go to school. And my dad's like, hey, your brother's thinking about going to school in Utah. My oldest brother, John Carlo. And so I was fucking like, Utah? Really? I'd heard some weird things about Utah. Didn't really know much about it, to tell you the truth. It was fucking somewhere in the middle of the country. To me, it was the Midwest. For some reason, when you live in California, you think Utah's the Midwest. Because you don't know if there's that much farther out, you know? So my dad's like, you should go check it out. So my brother ended up going to school. He came out with George Johnson, actually, straight out of high school. They came and went to the University of Utah. So I came and checked it out. I flew out, and my brother, this is a fucking crazy story. I don't know. This is definitely not a kids show, so I can tell it. Get off the plane. My brother picks me up. We go to this party. It's not a big party. It's just a few people. And it is this guy. He starts telling me that, yeah, this guy's going on his mission tomorrow, so we're having a fucking party. And I'm like, he's on a mission to do what? Like, I don't understand. I didn't really put two and two together that a mission meant you were going on a religious mission. They just kept saying a mission. I'm like, fuck, is he like Mission Impossible? What the fuck? Is he a secret agent? So we get to this party. There's fucking drugs everywhere. And I was just like, wow, he's on a mission to get hammered is what he's on. So we fucking do drugs till the end. And then they start telling me what he's going to do. And I'm like, let me get this straight. You're Mormon. You're going on a mission for 2 years to do this. You're not supposed to be doing any of this. But this is how we're sending you off? That was my introduction, first fucking night in Utah.
Damn. Wow.
Another thing that tripped me the fuck out, I don't know if it's you noticed this when you moved to Salt Lake, how wide the streets are.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We were driving down the streets. There was nobody in Salt Lake at that point. This was in 1989. Nobody in Salt Lake at night. And then we were driving down. I'm like, why the fuck are the streets so wide? Every single street's like mass wide.
Yep.
Yeah, you come from Massachusetts.
Oh,
They're
it's crazy.
fucking tiny.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So, anyways, regardless, that's my first night. I go stay with my brother at the Kappa Sigma fraternity house because he was a frat bro. We go snowboarding every day, though. Like every single day, up to Brighton. And I had already kind of gotten the bug of snowboarding during high school in California. We'd go to Donner, Ski Ranch, Boreal. We would go maybe 6-8 times a year. But I came to stay with my brother. We went to Brighton, and it's the first time I ever rode POW. Like, I had been to snowboarding before when it was snowing, or it had snowed a little bit in Tahoe, but never POW. And we were at Brighton, and there was like fucking 25 people in the parking lot. I think tickets were $11. I'm wanting to say $11 on the weekday. And we never left Millie all fucking day. And it was fucking crazy. I was supposed to be here for 7 days, ended up staying for 13, and fucking put in my application for school like as soon as I got home. So I was out here the next year. So snowboarding and my brother brought me to Utah. It wasn't skateboarding, Mike. But I did find a thriving skate scene here, which was really fucking cool. Super fucking cool.
Part 2 of his question about Milo?
Milo, for sure. When I fucking started with Milo, Jeremy and a bunch of people can attest, like we definitely were out to do something different than what was happening on 33rd South. And at that point, I did not really jive with one of the other stores that was in town. I liked some of the dudes that worked there, but the main guy was just not my personal cup of tea. And so I was just like, fuck, we got to do something and make it cooler. Because theirs was like, they had like uniforms kind of that they would wear at contests and whatnot. I don't know. It was just odd. So I was like, fuck it. We're going to do this. We're going to bring in skateboarding because Milo Sport was just a windsurfing shop that had some snowboards. And George Johnston hired me. And I was like, we got to fucking make skateboarding a huge part of this business. And we just went from there. And we first thing we did was built a ramp and put it in the front parking lot. We used pallets for flat bottom and then just built 2 quarter pipes and strapped them on. And just to get the word out that we had skateboards. And that's where Milo started from there, from George and I just fucking changing it. And then Jeremy was one of the first people that we brought over from said other store. And a lot of integral people followed. There was already a few: Timmy Osler, Zach Watkins, Ash Christensen, Cammie Wild.
It was heat.
And you was the first.
Yeah, Clunker.
The Pyramid.
Yeah,
and Clunker.
Pyramid. Yeah, and you ran the Pyramid ad, which was
in Medium magazine.
Yeah, which was all like,
it was
here we are, we're a team.
Exactly.
It was like the Park City All Stars.
Yeah.
Original.
Straight up, just like letting people know, like we're on the map. We're a fucking legit snowboard shop. We're here to fucking ruffle some feathers.
That was
and
cool.
that's how we got it. And we got a lot of people soon after started realizing, like, whoa, I'm more drawn to this type of person and these people than what I have going on now.
It was like the Trans World and Thrasher vibe.
It was 100 fucking percent.
Really? The two shops?
Yeah,
NorCal
that's
versus
totally
SoCal.
No way.
100 fucking percent.
Milo was Thrasher. That was 100%. Like if you were more Thrasher based, you were at
We
Milo.
may have a.
Excuse me.
Oh!
What? Benny, we're going to need you back at the office. We got George from Milo Auburn.
He's
on the
fucking
line. He
calls
said
a lot.
You overcharged him on shipping, I guess.
Double charge him.
What up, guys?
Hey, we were just talking.
How
we
we
were just
doing?
talking Milo Sport. You're an ex-Milo employee. Can you
I
get
am.
the mic any closer? Or is that all we got right there?
About all we got.
Tune me up here. What, you guys didn't get the doggy door ready for the guests, you know?
They need a fucking drop mic.
We need the
Dude,
little-
what up? You look good in the headphones.
Thanks, brother.
How we doing?
Amazing.
We're doing good. We were talking about the glory days of Milo back in the day. You worked there.
Yeah.
We got Jay Stone, who works
Yeah.
over at K2 now.
Trevor.
We got Trevor, who's head of sales over at Arbor.
Before
Jack
that,
Stevens?
Matt Sickles.
Jack Stevens, too.
Matt Sickles that
Yeah.
worked at Ride. We got fucking Troy
college of-
Honenberger, who is now the head engineer for Ride and K2. There's a fat
It's
list of people that
literally
have come
the
through
transition point of a snowboarder or a skateboarder that wants to be in the industry.
People talk about it all the time
Yep.
as like Milo Sport University of
just
fucking
100%.
sports business.
The College
Yeah.
of Snowboarding.
Straight up.
It is.
Yo, not to interrupt, but I do have a question for you, Benny, real
What's
quick.
up?
A little bit of context here before. So we bought Benny a pair of AirPods a couple years ago in Nitro because he was always wearing stupid headphones like that, talking on the phone. And we learned that they were like maybe his favorite thing that he owned. So he acquired a few nicknames over the year. And I got to
These
ask
are
him,
really horrible nicknames.
What's your favorite nickname? Either Bennis Podman or is it the Podfather?
Dennis Podman was pretty fucking good. I was so mad when Jack said that. I was so fucking mad. I don't know if I think it was Jack. I don't know if it was you.
Yeah, I think Podfather was Jack. I think I had Bennis Podman.
Yeah.
Bennis
Podman was pretty fucking
That
good.
is pretty good.
I didn't realize you're only supposed to wear one.
I got a question for you.
Said both.
Jay, Jeff, before you take off,
Yeah,
how is it working at Nitro with Benny over here? Do you enjoy it?
pretty amazing. Benny definitely has his times, you know. He likes to watch mountain bike videos a lot. But he's amazing. Obviously, everybody loves chatting with him and all the accounts love him. So he's good to have and just an absolute legend. Everybody knows who he is and appreciates him, so it's good having him.
Love it. First, congratulations on being the first
Yeah,
guest
thanks,
in
man.
the
Thanks for letting me be
in the doggy door.
I asked him, I'm like, are we going to use the dog door?
Dude, we're hitting.
I'm a dog fucking fan.
Yeah, get a photo of that. I gotta hang on. I gotta get one too. This is also we skated this morning.
We did. I saw Grenier about 45 minutes ago. So maybe 2 hours ago.
I got to the office and I'm like, holy fuck, what happened? Jeff is just bright fucking red.
Dripping sweat. I literally had to get in our shower at the office.
Bright red.
It was insane.
Let me tell you something. Getting going in the morning, it's hard at 7-something a.m.
Oh, yeah.
Grenier brought out the tripod with the phone though, and it kind of juiced the session.
Yeah, a little Kodak
We were
courage.
a little stiff until the phone came.
A tiny little bit of a clip eye.
Yeah, little Kodak courage will do a
All right,
long, go a
I'm letting
long
you
way.
guys get back to it.
Love you,
guys.
Thanks, Jeffy.
Ben.
Love you,
Thanks
Hefe.
for letting me pop through.
Fuck yeah.
Love ya.
Wow, how do we feel?
I was fucking hyped that we
That was
used
amazing.
it. Well, how's he gonna
that worked
fucking
pretty well.
work this out?
Yeah, the first doggy door experience and the timing of Milo with the Milo employee.
Pretty good.
Worked
but
great.
Jeremy
That was
hit it on the
beautiful.
head. It was fucking Thrasher and Trans World.
It
Yep.
was.
100%.
And it was fun.
We built a big ass ramp in the back, and we would just skate that thing massive sessions every single night. It was
That
fucking
was-
crazy.
That was an era for sure.
It was
A lot
fucking good.
changed.
It was
A lot
fucking
started.
So who rode for Milo in the early days? Who is this squad?
God, Chaffel, Schreier, JP, Jeremy, Travis, Mitch, Brandon Ruff, Tonino, Downing. Fuck, the list just goes on. Haydar, fuck
Benny.
I wasn't a team rider.
Yeah.
Justin Benny.
I was talking about Justin Benny.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That whole crew, Deadlung. Oh man, the list just goes on and on and on.
Now
there is a fat team list, I think, on the website still. I don't think it's been updated recently.
Well, it probably never like no one gets removed from it.
Inducted for life.
Yeah, Hall of Famer jersey in the rafters.
That's right.
So going back, just for the listeners, because not everybody knows, you were at Milo for like 100 fucking years, right?
Okay, 1995 to 2018.
Damn.
Wow.
And then you owned a shop.
I did. I owned Milo Sport in Orem. Everyone always thought I moved down there. I never left Salt Lake.
Yep.
I would just commute, and I'd always say, you know what's the best part about that drive? Leaving Utah County. I loved it down there, but I would never, it was, when time was up, I was out.
Peace.
I'd skate with those guys all the time, somewhere on the way home, or I'd force them to come up to South Jordan or something. But yeah, 23 years. Super sad note. We sold the store. The person who bought it killed it in 2 years.
Oof. Bummer.
Not an easy business.
It's not. It's not. The passion, and people seem to think it's going to be like some retail mall store. It just runs on a whole different algorithm,
Explain.
It's just like you have to have a draw to bring people in. And the draw has to be your culture and your community. It was, far before anything with internet and whatnot. So I think I had to like get a reputation in the scene to get people to come in. And then to keep them there. Skaters are fickle, snowboarders are fickle. They'll fucking go buy from somewhere else and whatnot. And there's been all kinds of stores in Salt Lake and Orem that have come and gone that would come in and there'd be a big, splash and then they would disappear. And it's been a cycle of that forever. And you just have to be like the fucking super strong store with the good scene that does good business. There's trials and tribulations. Like you don't buy so much shit that you can't sell. You can always get more. Now on this side of the table, there's so many stores that like come through these problems no matter how many times you warn them like, hey, just give us a smaller order. You can always get more. So you have to go through that. And unfortunately, when we passed the baton, they just overbought themselves out of business. Pretty simple to realize when your store is full and you have less customers. Pretty sad.
Well, and running on the confidence and reputation that was built previously too. Like what you brought to the culture and community 20 years before you even went to that place.
Yeah.
Like you still had to rebuild in Orem and create that.
100%.
But you had an experience to do so. And you're just built like that, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's a type of person for sure. But that's a hard thing to definitely follow up. Because if you don't have more passion and bleed it more than you did, it probably wasn't going to succeed.
And I think our employees, so it's like the employees you bring in, it gets to the point where you're like, you should probably get another job. I can't pay you much more. I love that you're still here and you want to stay, but you should go do something else.
Right.
And that's Milo Sports always had those people that will stick around until they absolutely are like, okay, I'm either going to college or I'm starting a family. They probably still cover some shifts here and there. And it's a family, 100%. And creating that family vibe is what keeps the business thriving.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're going to get into some Patreon questions. This Patreon question is brought to you by Nitro Snowboards and Craig McMorris. Let's tee it up, Craig.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Craig McMorris here with Nitro Snowboards. Today we're talking about Truth Pan Down. Yes, the Kita boot. It's got the external heel lock. It's got the double boa. I love this boot. I'm about to ride it on a glacier right now. I'm also about to give away a pair of Nidecker boots to who? BJ Emery. Congratulations. Your question from the Patreon gets asked. Benny, listen up. How important are local shops, especially in the direct-to-consumer age that we are in? And more importantly, how can brands support shops and make it easier for brick and mortar to stay alive? Thanks for all you do to make the industry and community great. Excited to hear your answer.
Yeah. Thanks, Benny.
The shops are the backbone of it. If you look at and it's so cool coming to work for Nitro. I mean, and it's like constantly beat into our head from the top down, from Tommy Delago, from Andy Armhauer, from Hannes, who are all the European part of the company. And they create all the marketing and whatnot and, our ethos of what the brand is. And we wholeheartedly accept it. And if you look at like our ethos, it's all about, especially recently, there's a big tree growing and all the roots are the shops. Without the shops, the tree's going to die. So it is so fucking important for the industry. It's for that person to walk in. We always used to use the analogy of you can buy your first skateboard or snowboard at the mall, but then you usually buy your second or third skateboard or snowboard from a shop, because now next thing you know, you're like, you want to talk to somebody that lives, breathes, and eats the sport, the art form that it is. Like, you want to go and have some sort of parallel connection with that person on the floor. So the shops are where you're going to get it. You're not going to get it online. Somebody's going to have to do a really fucking good job for you to feel like you're family to an online store. It's just not going to happen. Shops are so important because that's where you have demos. That's where you have bib pickups for local contests. That's where you hear about video premieres and you go see video premieres because the shop's putting them on. Mm-hmm. That's where you get your board fixed. That's where if you need something in a pinch, you're not going to be like, oh, I broke my truck. I guess I'll wait till my fucking package shows up in the next few days. Fuck that. You're going to the store and getting a truck. And that's just, and when you walk in, you want, high fives. You want that family vibe, that homey feeling, whether you're at Recess in North Carolina, Eastern Border in Boston, you're at fucking RIP, the youth shelter in Minnesota, Satellite. I mean, there's stores, Milo, all over the country, Wave Rave. There's plenty of stores where you go in and you want to be able to talk to someone that is your peer. And that's just where you get it. And they're so fucking important. It's what gets people hooked on the culture. Mm-hmm. And we want, culture people to stick around forever. You want them to be a part of your community. You want them to appreciate the culture, and then they'll appreciate your stores. And brands that are selling direct to consumer, it is sometimes a necessary evil for sure. And it does happen, and it does help the brands certain ways. But by no means do I see the top, 10 brands out there would be able to survive without the stores.
Now, is Nitro still just shop only, or do they do direct consumer?
There is direct to consumer, but it is not through the website. So if you go to Nitro's website, you can't purchase anything on there. If you want something, you can get it on Nitro Snowboards USA, but we're never on sale. We don't buy extra for it. It's primarily just for like the random size of something that we end up having, like a 64 wide Magnum, and somebody can't find that, and we have one left.
Grab bag.
Yeah,
so
there's no full stock of anything, and nothing ever, ever, ever goes on sale. Mm-hmm. Everything's always full price. We primarily use it for shop employees to be able to, because we used to, like, when we'd get pro forms or parts requests, before we had an online store to do it with, it was literally like email back and forth. Let me get your credit card info. It was these millions of communications to try to get it done.
Love that. Going back to shop stuff, one of my favorite things is on planet Earth is just walking into Milo, setting up a skateboard, shooting the shit, gripping it, taking your time.
The battle dog walks in and starts trying to do fucking tray flips and taking out people's fucking shins.
Yep. Next thing you know, you see 10 people that you haven't seen in a while. Benny might have had his chihuahuas out at one point.
Oh, that's absolutely right.
I take in all like snowboard consignment in the summer, knowing it won't sell, just so I can go in every day and drive by and check on it. And I'll just and then probably end up buying a skate something, And I don't know, when you were just talking about it, it just was giving me the feels.
Like, I got a dope memory that I'm sure you'll remember, Jeremy. That's so fucking cool that we used to do. Do you remember when we got the parking lot resurfaced?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then we built all those ramps.
Mm-hmm.
We used to have these fucking major skateboard competitions in the parking lot. We would build big ass shit,
huge
pyramids, quarter pipes, fucking so much stuff. And to have it spread out over the entire parking lot, and everything was on trucks. So you'd have to fucking, the worst thing is when everyone would want to set it up after work, then they'd slowly disappear.
Yep.
Next thing you know, you're like, oh my God, I got to put all this shit away with 3 of us. You're trying to tip over this fucking big ass lumber thing. But it was so fucking cool because the sun would set and they'd be all shady because Milo Sport, faces east. So it would just be super shady and we'd all, hang out there till dark. Super fucking fun.
Yeah, kids were coming out. That's where Liz really started showing up.
Totally.
Kick flipping the bump to bump that was way too steep.
Yeah.
And we'd pull it apart and in classic, like learning the kick flips in that era, but doing them just the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was a beautiful thing.
One thing I remember that was so fucking cool is watching him and Nate Bozung the first time they kind of ran into each other when they were both children. And they played a game of skate, like cruising around the parking lot, doing tricks on little curbs and whatnot. And Nate was so fucking good at skateboarding.
He was. Yeah.
He was so fucking good at skateboarding. And watching them, I was like, these 2 kids are going to be so goddamn good. Yeah. And then Jordan Mendenhall was with them too. Jordan was incredible too.
He was. Yeah.
But I remember those 2 specifically hanging out, playing skate in the parking lot.
Iconic.
Yeah.
All right, we got a guest question from George Johnson. Here we go.
All right. Hey, Ben, how's it going? Glad to hear you on the bomb hole. One important thing, I think, and when I look back on our friendship and relationship, is the impact you've had on shop culture. And maybe you could enlighten people on, the importance of shop culture and just how it can impact everybody through their daily lives. So looking forward to your answer. Thanks, buddy. Love you.
I love you too, Schmuck. We just hit on that, but there is other things after I hear George's voice, just about like the kind of the freedom that the old owner and Cal gave us when he bought the store to create a new vibe. Like we ended up like busting out walls. We brought in a pool table. We had a big ass pool table in the middle of the store. We'd hang out. We'd stay late and gamble. After skating, we'd come inside and play pool and gamble. We'd play 3-ball for hours. Shane Justice, you, Todd was there a lot. You guys would be taking his money because he can't stop gambling.
Skate comps in the back on the QP in the winter with just slickest ground. And, I mean, yeah, that was...
But the freedom that Cal and the owners before that, George, everyone thought George owned it, but there was a previous owner, Dwayne Bush, who owned the store and sold it to Cal. But they gave us the freedom to create something new, and it was kind of a blank slate for George and myself. George knew snowboarding. I knew what I knew of snowboarding at that point, but I knew skateboarding. And I'm like, if we're going to bring in skateboarding, we need to make it a spot where people can hang out and watch videos. So we had TVs with a fucking place to sit always in front of it, so you can just zone out on videos for hours. But then we started, we fucking made the curbs all skatable out front. We built ramps in the back. Remember that super tight quarter pipe that we had out front? It was literally 4 feet tall with 10 inches of vert. And we just fucking all try to learn shit on it and just be getting served into the asphalt. But we'd fucking do it for hours. So just the freedom that Dwayne and Cal both gave us to create this culture, and we didn't even know if it was the correct thing to do. But I knew that I wanted people to come in and want them to stay. Not buy your shit and get out. Fucking buy your shit and hang out.
That's really cool hearing, because Cal likes his mode.
Yeah.
We know that, right?
For sure.
But to think he comes in from the jump and to open that up and because he wasn't really a snowboarder.
Not
he
at
didn't
all.
know anything from snowboarding or skating.
He trusted us.
He had to. And I never really have put that together. That's a pretty rad move.
It was. The freedom that he gave us, it was carte blanche. He allowed us to do pretty much anything. We told him which brands to bring in. We brought in all kinds of crazy shit. We couldn't get some of the brands at first. because we were coming in. So we were getting these off brands, Fester snowboards, black and white. Like there were so many.
They didn't want to sell to a windsurf shop.
Yeah, so many brands, you know. But then we would slowly get Santa Cruz, you know, and then fucking we'd get Type A. You know, we slowly just clawed our way into where people are like, wow, these guys are where all that action is happening. We want to be in there. So the culture creates community, which creates your business, you know, and it's not, one can't do it without the other. Mm-hmm. And one of the key things I think is just making people feel like they can come in and be a part of it. You know, George has done an incredible job. Him and Jason out in Milo in Lafayette when they were down in the Bay Area, but now up in Auburn, same thing. You go there and there's people just hanging out, you know? And like you said, you know, there's nothing better than setting up your skateboard and then just shooting the shit for a little while until finally you're like, fuck, I've been here for 90 minutes. I gotta go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris would come in every fucking night with a big plate of food and he would just eat and sit there for fucking 90 minutes. And he's like, fuck, I gotta go.
Well, also too, even thinking about the shop, like if you got nowhere else to go or you're going through a breakup and you're used to being around people or whatever it is in your life, it's like, well, I can go hang out at the shop.
Yeah.
You know, and for better or worse, but it's always a place that you can pop in and socialize and see your people. And back then it was like Jeff and Trev and yourself and
the community and culture is what you're striving to do. And it's like, there's so many people trying to do it the wrong way. And the only way to really do it is be involved in your community, put on events. Like your job as a shop owner and as a shop manager is to create things that enhance the culture, not just fucking take from it. Mm-hmm. So you've got to be the one that's doing video premieres. You got to be the one that's bringing in skate demos. You got to be the one that's fucking helping the kid out when he can't afford something. So you saved that deck for him. You knew he's going to walk in later. Like these are the little things that you do that create, lifers. Mm-hmm. You know, you let the kid clean up the fucking parking lot and you give them stickers. Mm-hmm. You know, and they're like, how can I can I take out the trash? And you're like, no, you can't yet. You haven't earned that. And it's literally that.
And that same hazing it's a healthy haze, right?
It is.
I think like same way you described your entrance to skateboarding, like when the older kids showed up or you showed up to the older kids kind of territory there, and they just did the same thing. It was like it wasn't always super respectful. I mean, I had my number of beat downs at vert ramps, but it was sort of just, you get jumped in.
Yeah.
Some was a little more violent than others. But
it's fun. You know what I mean? Like I when I moved to Utah, it was so fucking crazy because when we were in the Bay Area, every single session you went to was a snake session. Like it just, that's just the way it is in Northern California. Like your fucking run is next and you're going to try to get every next run. I came here and everyone like freaked the fuck out because I thought that's what everyone was doing. So I'd get here and I'd be at the ramp and I'd just snake nonstop.
Yeah.
And a lot of the locals.
Name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Benny the Snake.
Yeah. Like a lot of people would just fucking trip out and there I'm like, just fucking go. Like, we don't take turns here. It's my turn.
Yeah. Go and get some.
I'm trying to get it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was sick. I like bringing that to the community was rad and then here it was always, you would feel it. It would heat up to the snake session. Yeah. So it would start warming up and then you're like, Benny's about to let it go.
And it was fun to we would attack each other when, like if somebody was not getting out, you start going towards them.
Yep.
And that was part of our shit too. You're like, okay, he's not getting out. I'm fucking going at him.
Also, nothing worse than long mini ramp run guy.
Oh yeah,
like the guy that's been in there for like 8 minutes doing.
Love him to death, Tom Blosh.
Well, he'll never fall, dude.
Tom Blosh, you're like, Jesus Christ, another fucking contest run.
Get in there, get your licks, get out, keep it exciting.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that.
I know.
Oh, it was classic.
One thing you just said that I gotta go back to, but creating lifers.
Yeah.
That's it. Like the goal is to take somebody that's a recreational skateboarder, recreational snowboarder, they get embedded in the culture and they become a lifer.
And it's that thing that opens it. It might, I don't know what it's going to be that it is for that person. It could be that just interaction, the one interaction at the skate counter or in the boardroom, or it's like you fucking recognize them at a video premiere. You're like, what's up, Johnny? And they're just like, holy shit, fucking. And it just like you include them and not on purpose either, these are all byproducts of just doing what you think is right for the store. And it is, like I said, it's community. It's like, I want to hang out with everyone. Like anyone that walks in the store doors is someone that could be someone that, a lifer. Another Milo Sport lifer.
Do you think that the internet almost appearing to be a real place these days that you could spend time is what takes away from the community? Like the community is not as important because you're like, I am hanging out with my friends. I'm talking to them on the internet, but do you know what I mean?
I do 100%. And it's very fucking crazy right now. As hard of a job as Pat and Stan and those guys are trying to do at Slush, something's missing in that culture of like how we get our information and the feel of it. Like, I don't know what it is, but something's happening right now in snowboarding where I used to check Snowboarder and Transworld every fucking day just to see what happened. And I don't know where the shift has happened, but there's something going on right now where the community is kind of becoming a little bit segregated.
There's no main vein.
Yeah, something that gets everything together where everything drops all the fucking time.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it feels fragmented. It feels...
and it's the internet has done it, and I don't know if it's because we are fucking inundated with clips, we're inundated with, fucking visuals and whatnot. And so we don't feel the need to get on there to see the latest sick thing. I don't know what it is, but it's definitely, I think that people think they're in tune, like you said, because they're caught up on their social media. And that's just not, I'd much rather go to Brighton every day and fucking run into people.
Seems like it's the fear of survival and panic. Like it's a panic and a survival scenario rather than a comfortable scene that you can actually cultivate community. Like you can't do that right now.
No.
Unless it's in your own zone.
Yeah.
Unless it's all the stuff you talked about. Like those residents with the relationships that they build with the shops and then the shops return that. Like it's like politics, right? Like the real change you're going to make is right there next to you.
100%. Local's the most important.
Straight up. If you want to have an impact, like go local and make an impact because it will. If you have a good plan, if you're loud enough, if you're persistent enough, like
your local community is who you hang out with.
Yeah.
It's simple. It's just your people.
One thing that's cool as ever, I don't know if you guys watched it, but just Brighton's always been what it is. But in the last 5 years, the cohesion of the crews has been so fucking cool. Where it used to be like everyone was off on their own. Now it's like you get on the chairlift, next thing you know, like you're riding with you guys for a fucking one run. You kind of splinter off, go into the next crew where everyone used to kind of move in their separate crews.
Yeah. True.
Now it's so fucking cool, next thing you know, Hale's in the crew, whatever. It's just does that all day long on every powder day. It's really neat to see that there's less clicky when you're hanging out over on Millie,
That speaks to that tone of the generation, generations that span snowboarding too, because now there isn't a generational gap. Like
there isn't.
There's just this young and this old, and they can just mash together, and it works really good.
The Mikeys.
Yep.
The Mikeys.
Bunch of dudes in their 50s riding with people that are 17.
Yeah, exactly. It's really fucking cool.
And it feels right. Like it feels right.
So that feeling is what we need to move throughout all of snowboarding right now. That feeling of just people meshing. And I don't know what it is right now. And it's happening in different things. We're trying to do different things on our end behind the table as well to keep the communities together. And I think that just more of that stuff needs to happen. I don't know if there's less events. I think there's less events, so there's less gatherings.
That's it.
That's
it.
Yeah.
Less. I would say less
communal.
grassroots events too, because a lot of there's I think a lot of people are going for these top tier events and kind of missing the core of the community, missing the ball on the community vibes.
Yeah, I mean think of like when you're growing up, like you probably had it, in Massachusetts, that one skateboard contest that you would look up to every summer. You're like, I can't wait for the fucking whatever Western Mass Showdown to happen.
From Central Mass, but yeah.
Exactly. Sorry about that. It is still just Massachusetts.
It is. All right, we're going to interrupt this programming to talk about one of my favorite brands, Autumn Headwear. Their motto is Style Matters, and it shows. If you look at their team, they got some of the most stylish riders on the planet. It's rider-owned. This is a brand owned by snowboarders. Brad Alband is the genius behind it. He's done great work over there. And they have great fits on the beanies, most importantly. Here at the Bomb Hole, we love what we call a deep resi fit, the reservoir tip, so to speak. So they have the surplus fit, which is kind of a resi. They have the shorty fit, which is shallow. You might catch Silk D wearing one of those. They also have the simple fit that's right in between. And I was just on their website. The apparel is impeccable. So great company, rider owned. If you're interested in getting a great beanie this winter, head on over to autumnheadwear.com and use promo code BOMBHOLE for 20% off your order. And keep that dome piece looking great with an autumn bonnet. Now, do you find yourself slowing down a little bit in your older age? Maybe getting off hill a little earlier? Well, you could be dehydrated. 75% of Americans are dehydrated. And that goes up when you're at elevation, when you're in the mountains. So I drink Bubs Hydrate or Die hydration packets. There's 2,000 milligrams of electrolytes. There's no added sugar. There's no artificial flavors. Let me tell you, when I'm hydrated, I ride better. I can ride longer. I have more energy. All in all, my vitality is just better. So if you're interested in picking up some Bubs Naturals Hydrate or Die, head on over to bubsnaturals.com and use promo code BOMBHOLE for 20% off your order. And stay hydrated, people, with Bubs Naturals Hydrate or Die. All right, well, talking about Massachusetts, we happen to have a guest question from a person from Massachusetts. It's also a Patreon member, supporter of the show. Another long-winded one from our dear friend, Johan Melkowski.
Hello, Ben. It's your old friend, Johan, a longtime Bombhole listener, multi-time caller, Patreon supporter, and the Ride Snowboard team's most hated group chat call-in. Hopefully on this call-in, pennies won't get watered up with my questions. You know who you are. Grandies, congrats for pulling your head from your ass and bringing in a true snowboarder that doesn't have to 50-50 a handrail in the streets in order for you to recognize that he's rad.
Nice.
Benny, as a dude who's been snowboarding since the dawn of time, you've seen snowboarding go from an all-encompassing lifestyle to what's now just a winter activity. Now, that doesn't make it wrong, but it does take away from some of the magic that makes snowboarding more than just snowboarding. My question to Ben is this. What are the benefits of having a culture and lifestyle attached to snowboarding, as well as why should companies and brands invest in this? Thanks ahead of time for sharing your story. I hope Chris asks you how to properly eat chicken wings and then tells you what he would do if he was you. Now hurry up. Chris, maybe after talking to Ben, you'll get the urge to spend a day at the Bird and earn yourself a Bird Loaf nickname. Have fun, fellas. Love you.
Answering Johan's question, I think one of the main things that is right now becoming more and more important, and all of us are talking more too amongst the brands, there is this ongoing email amongst probably on some emails up to 15 of us, and on some emails a little bit less. But we are just helping, try to all become on the same page of understanding that we need to do stuff together. We all have to do stuff together. We can't just be running across, everybody going their own ways and telling different stories because it just doesn't, bring everyone together. So back of the house with us, we're trying to do it. We're trying to come together to bring everyone with shops, team riders, everyone just doing more stuff together. And then also the healthiness of snowboarding will become a byproduct of that. They will 100% see what's going on, and hopefully the shops catch on. They see what we're doing, making them understand that they're super important to us. And then them, because of that, doing the same thing with their communities and their team riders and their, customers that come in the door every day.
I like that. Now, going back, if you were to look back in the day, it seems like an interesting topic might be trade shows, right? And you guys did the interlude situation the past few years, which was really fun. But it was very about in-person, shaking hands.
Yeah, so our idea with that, I mean, it wasn't our idea. It was mostly Kyle Phillips from Air Blaster and then Chase Birch, who is a local badass from Ogden that has done a lot for his local community. Kyle saw what he was doing. He's like, I need some help doing this on a national level, because we were going to these trade shows, and because of, when COVID happened, the trade show kind of disappeared, and there was a big void in all of us getting together and having talks at the bar late night, seeing each other in line for coffee in the morning, little things that didn't happen for 1 year. All of a sudden, 2 years later, you're like, fuck, something's missing. None of us wanted to go back to the trade show because it was so costly for us. I mean, it was our largest expenditure of the entire year from almost every single brand. And there's a reason people started backing away from it, because they're like, we don't have to do this. This is an old style of business. But what was some of the things that we really liked was the concerts at night, the movie premieres at night, the teasers you would see. Mac Dog would drop his teaser at the trade show every year. And it would just be so fucking cool to get you hyped for the coming year. So what was missing was community, relationships, basically community and relationships. So we wanted to figure out some way to get everyone back together. And so with Interlude, they had this vision, and they contacted a bunch of us, and we all, had our 2 cents. And it was basically trying to get team riders, shop owners, and company staff all in the same place. Not so much about sales. Like, the idea is to go snowboarding with team riders, go snowboarding with shop people, go snowboarding with local legends, and then just at night come back and you show your highlights of your new product. That's all we want to be there for. And then it's like a little bit of something to talk about how your day went. They ask you questions about a certain particular product. We tried to have as few products as possible. And so it was more about just high fives and creating, long-lasting bonds in the community.
How maintainable is that to repeat?
It's tough. The first year was really fucking good. Last year, snow was tough. And then, it started snowing on the last day, and that's when it snowed for the entire rest of the winter. So we've tried it at the beginning of the buying cycle. We've tried it at the early part of the buying cycle. This year, we're trying a new thing where it's just after the buying cycle. Some companies are into it, some aren't. We'll see where it goes. That's the hard part, is starting to become fractured like things do when so many people get involved. Some people view it as a huge sales piece.
I think that was my kind of where I was going, is when does something with such pure intent turn into the sales? Because it is about that not directly, but this idea is to present at least something
for sure
to show that you exist. But it is our industry right now is like fighting to survive. And
think of it instead. Here's what people got to think of it as, maybe a little bit more so. Let's say you go to a car show. You're not going to a car show to look at Ford's new entire lineup. You're looking at concept cars. You're looking at cool fucking shit.
Uh-huh.
Millions of people around. You're talking about concepts. You're talking about the future. You're talking about car culture. You're not necessarily selling the next model of anything, but you're getting everyone together. And I think that's where, and it's more than anything, it's a marketing thing. Without sales, there's no marketing. Without marketing, there's no sales. For us, we're trying to position it as something where it's 75% marketing, 25% sales. And the sales aren't going to be realized particularly on a product. It's on somebody being like, fuck yeah, I'm a fucking hyped on Nitro because of these people. Next year, I'm going to do a little bit more in my store. I don't expect them to put pen to paper and change something right then, but I hope that they have a lasting impression on us going shredding that day, or us fucking hanging out that night, having a few beers, or sitting down next to each other at dinner. Because that's the cool thing about Interlude, is everyone's together for the whole few days. Because it's meals, it's shredding, and then it's also the presentation part of the evening.
Mm-hmm. I mean, going back to the trade shows, like it was a huge expense for brands.
Massive.
And so they would like turn away from that expense in time as being one of the main drivers and start to fizzle. But as a brand, like what other place is there an appropriate spend to have a huge expense for the sake of the company? Because that huge expense at one point was beneficial for those brands. Obviously, it wasn't at some point. Things rolled. Not real. It's just interesting. And then now this spend, like people could come not about sales, 75% about marketing. Like just put money there.
Yes.
Not for this sheet to walk out with orders all booked
no
up
buying
for the
programs.
season.
It's more so like fucking. I'd rather somebody walk home with a free snowboard than get fucking 3 more snowboards from them.
Like almost just all in marketing. If you sell something good, nice job.
Exactly. I mean, that's
right.
If you think about what, let's say Nitro, I don't know the exact number, but it probably cost us anywhere between 60 to 80 grand to do the trade show. And we're there for fucking 10 days. We would leave here in a van, go to Denver, be there for 10 days. Because we also did the on-snow demo after that was attached to it. So the spend was big, the time consumption was big, the burnout from it was huge.
Everybody's partying.
Yeah, we'd all come home, and because it was fun.
Yeah.
Because you are hanging with your friends. That was the fun part of the trade show. The community, the culture, the relationships. That's what you walked away from the next day. You're like, fuck, I was a great sales pitch I gave last night. No, it was the shit talking, that was the fucking seeing who was going to make this fucking little tree gap that you guys found in the woods that no one's ever hit. It was all these things.
Yeah.
That was the takeaway that you loved. So trying to just pull that part out of it and create just that is what we're hopefully can continue to nurture and make this thing better. But if you look at 60 to 80 grand versus like now probably 10 to 15 that it would cost a company, it's fucking a whole lot less. And I think you get a huge reward out of it. Not only, and that's a lot of people are like, there wasn't enough buyers there, but it's like it was re-enthusing for our staff, for our sales force, because a lot of our reps come too.
Yep.
And then team riders show up because they want to hang out. And so like that part of what you walk away with is what I hope is the most important and most valuable. Because in the future, people are going to want to come back to something like that. They're going to remember, Jim from Ride, who's cool as fuck. They're going to remember Trevor from Arbor, little Jeff.
We actually do have Trevor from Arbor. He is in the lobby right now. Trevor, T-Bone.
Not a segue
There
either.
Give him the mic. You got mic access? Is that as close as we can go?
I got a loud voice. I don't need a mic. I got a special delivery for the squad, though, to start.
Yes.
Yep. I know my boy.
I told him
Zinnies.
Zinnies.
Pocket candy, so got him some Starbursts.
What were you calling him?
I told him
6?
nicotine
Heads
911.
Jer.
We had a
man.
nicotine 911 situation.
I got you a couple flavors too.
Thanks, Bone.
Rogue on it.
Yeah, appreciate you, Bone. So, for the listeners, Trev runs sales over at Arbor now, but he was originally, once upon a time, a Milo Sport employee that worked with Benny P over here. How was that experience working with Benny?
Insane. Absolute legend. It was the best. I mean, the most formative time of my life for sure.
One of the coolest stories I have about Trev, and Cal's not going to like this one, but that's okay, Cal. You don't have to like everything. But Trevor, we were down at one of these hotel shows that we would go to all the time. We'd do it 4 times a year. All the reps show up in town. We go check out shoes, clothing, whatever. Trev's like, hey, do you got a minute afterwards? And I was like, sure, what's going on? He's like, can I just talk to you about something? So we go sit in the car, and he's just like, I have this opportunity to go do this thing. And I'm like, well, what is it? And it was, of course, our boy Josh Fisher, fucking legend, was offering Trevor a position to go work with Burton. And Cal was trying to explain to him that it would be a mistake and whatnot. And I said, fuck that. Absolutely. You have to do this. And look at Trevor now.
Yeah, thank you.
I was just like, bro, you could stay at Milo and do all kinds of things, but I know you could go do this and it's an amazing experience and you're going to be really fucking good at it.
Thanks, doggy.
Absolutely.
And now look at him. What is it? What's the title? Give me the official title.
North American Sales Manager, but your boy wears a lot of hats. You know? I'm kind of
It's
like
still a snowboard company.
One-stop shop, dude. I'll roll in there with my tool belt on. I'll get it done. Whatever you need.
Okay, we're gonna hit some rapid fire. Favorite and least favorite person to work with at Milo Sport, both of you guys.
Oh man, there's two that come to mind that are fucking amazing people, but the two worst to work with. Griffin Siebert. Just so you'd be like, hey Griff, can you vacuum? Fuck, really? Griff, do you take out the trash? Oh God. And then Eric motherfucking Overson. That guy would look over and he'd just be sitting down on his phone the whole time, and you'd be like, hey Eric, can you help me? He goes, oh sure. Amazing people.
Favorite?
Shitty workers.
Favorite? What about favorite, Benny?
Oh man, favorites. Fuck, Lil Jeff. I mean, I have top three: Lil Jeff, Jack Stevens, and fucking Trevor.
Wow,
Straight up.
On the Mount you're on Benny's Mount Rushmore.
That
right
is
there.
insane.
In our Orem store.
Yep.
Does that surprise you?
I mean, no.
Of course not.
It's still it's an honor for sure.
Orem
Absolutely.
store. Alex Solberg, Jason Turner, and Jordan Perry.
All right, Bone, who you
Best. There's a shit ton of worst. There's one motherfucker that
I was
could talk
gonna say
about.
Griff for worst for sure. Even though somehow he stayed on the staff for like
That's what
3
I
years.
said. I don't know how he
should have been
stayed.
like maybe cut like 6 months in, but I liked working with him, but he was one of the worst employees. Is definitely Creeder, dude.
Creed's
Taxwood was down for like the manual labor type duties. Like if you were like, yo, you got to go sweep, he'd be like, fuck, all right, but. Had a hard time getting him out of the hot tub, which is the zone like by the state.
Oh yeah,
those dudes tend to hang.
Yep.
And then top three, Big J Little World, obviously, because we're ham and egg, Benny and Jack Stevens.
Yeah.
Ooh, there it is.
Milo royalty.
Yep, seems like it.
Love that. Bone, you got a question for Benny?
Yeah.
What do we got here?
Yeah. So I was thinking a lot about you, Ben, and I think like you've really been able to step in as like a big brother type mentor for a lot of us that have come up, especially through Milo, myself included. And you were always there to like tell us what we needed to hear, even though sometimes it was hard to hear.
Yeah.
Even though a lot of times your feedback is unsolicited, it's definitely always appreciated.
Yep.
So I wanted to see if you have any like words of advice or life mantras for the next gen.
For me, I think my dad was always, like one of those guys that would be very strict with me. But then after I got in trouble, he'd always tell me, hey, I just want you to know I love you. And that was like the thing I tried to do the most is like let people know they're fucking up, but let them know they're not in trouble. Like I just want to point out the mistakes you're making, and I don't want it to fucking happen again. And I'd probably tell you that way, but I love you and you're not in trouble. So I think that's one of the most key things is make sure that you don't let people slide on things that are important, but also let them know that mistakes are okay. Yeah. Like 100%. Like mistakes, we all make them. You got to learn from them. You don't lose points because of them.
Damn, masterclass from Benny Pellegrino. I'm taking notes over here. Leadership.
Wow. Leyenda, we call that.
Yeah. Hey, one thing I think I was talking about with you is the glory days of retail and maybe favorite trips you went on. Was that you? Or is that...
Oh, dude, I mean... Milo was the reason that I got to experience snowboarding outside of Utah.
Yeah.
Like I grew up here, only shredded Brighton and Park City. And my first trip when I was 16, I'd never been to High Cascade before because whatever, my parents couldn't do it. And I won an Oakley sales contest. And I got to go up there with a bunch of adults and me who was 16. So like they'd go out to the bar and I'd just be chilling. But
adult camp?
It was like we stayed at the camp. We got to like utilize the camp, but we weren't necessarily like campers.
Yep.
So it was fire. I mean, dude, I got to go to France, which was my first time ever leaving the United States on a trip. That was like... being able to see the outside world like that was like one of the most like pivotal experiences and one of the biggest like takeaways that I got during my time at Milo for sure.
Also, maybe explain, because listeners might not understand retailers getting taken care of. Like, explain how this happens if you work at a shop or you're a buyer or whatever.
Good question. Dude, everything that we do starts with retail, right? And it starts with the kids on the floor. And you got to get the kids on the floor telling your brand story and also hyped on your product. So one way that we do that is by going on these trips, because I think all of us, Benny included in this, like the best time that we can spend with our retailers is on snow. That's when the most like relationships are built. That's when businesses talk. That's when deals are made. So yeah, like we like to grease the employees and kind of stoke them out. The hope is like partially that they'll you know, want to sell our stuff and remember the trip, but also like it's a really, really good time to connect organically and also get feedback from a retail perspective for the brand on like how we can do things.
A lot of times it's like an employee without their boss around. Yeah. So they're speaking a little more candidly, which is awesome. Because a lot of times, you know, every shop owner has, you know, their ideas of how snowboarding should be and whatnot. And it's like, let's hear from the kid on the floor. You know, let's hear his experience. And like Bone said, I think one of the key things, like, it's not so much that we want them to sell nothing but Nitro or Arbor or K2 or whomever when they get back to the store. But it's just like that they come back and they're like, have a really good feeling about the brand. So even though they're selling someone a K2, the guy asked for a K2, they're like, hey, maybe you should check out this Nitro too. Or maybe you should check out this Arbor, you know, or this Ride, because you're like, oh, I have a good feeling about that brand. You're not looking up at a brand on the wall and being like, oh, I don't like them. I'm not going to sell those at all. You want to be able to look around your store and be like, fuck, I feel good about selling any one of these products.
Mm-hmm. I think it's interesting to talk about the importance of the kid on the floor selling the snowboards, knowing what the customer wants, because they're in there day to day being like, everybody wants rocker or whatever the fuck it is, right?
Yep.
Is that real?
Yeah, I mean, dude, those kids on the shop floor, they steer a lot of the business as far as like where the industry goes. You know, like I think all trends in the industry start with the kids at the shop. Whether it was rocker, whether it's camber now, whether it's riding a directional board, like those tastemakers or whatever they are, like are some of the most important pieces in making sure that the end consumer is like on the right stuff, you know, and they're having a good time and they're going to keep snowboarding.
Yeah, the shop kid is, you know, a really knowledgeable shop kid is fucking huge.
Huge.
Because it's going to get somebody in the right thing. You know, somebody who's not paying attention and just trying to sell something for a sales contest or whatnot. You know, sometimes there is these spiffs that brands will offer. But if it's not the right product for that guy, don't just sell it to him. You know, it's like, fuck, I could make $50 if I sell this thing, but it's not the right board for this guy. You know, he's looking for something else. So those shop kids are so fucking important. And another thing that Trevor and I, huge thing with Milo, a lot of shops are trying to do away with it, is clinics. When the reps show up and clinic the sales staff and they get an hour, hour and a half, depending upon who it is, to like train the floor, you have that little bit of time to get a little bit of knowledge of your brand into someone's head. And some of these reps are so good at it. Like, you know, it's probably different sales tactics that we all still use that we've picked up from a few different reps. You know, just that's stuck in our heads. But these clinics are so fucking important on the for the sales staff.
So they come in with like 5 boxes of pizza, and then they're basically like, here's what's cool about the new products. Here's what you should be telling the consumer.
Exactly.
That's what's happening.
Yeah.
Right?
And then they get, you know, they give out some swag and whatnot. And a lot of times it's super fun. It's that rep's in town for a few days. So you end up seeing them up at the Bird or at Brighton and whatnot, or you go snowboarding with them. And it just creates that bond, you know?
That seems crucial to me. I actually can't understand how a shop employee can sell through a product without these clinics. Like how do they do that? And if these things are dying, how does that even exist?
So that's where, you know, that whole entire hierarchy of rep, sub rep, you know, sales manager, dealer services guy, it's all about trying to make sure that they get the proper information and whatnot to their sales staff.
So this becomes a rep driven initiative.
Yep. And more so than ever, I think, because, you know, people are trying to make their own decisions when they're purchasing online and whatnot and buying the wrong products, you know, and having to return them because the thing doesn't fit or whatnot. So when you go into these stores, whether it is a big box store, hopefully your rep is clinicking these people and getting them to understand that, like, okay, the one thing that he told me is the boots need to touch your toes, you know? So they, you know, because a lot of times people come in, they're like, I wear a size 12. And you're like, let's measure your foot. And they're a fucking 10 and a half.
Yeah. Right.
And you're like, okay, so that's okay with your Reeboks that you have on for walking around town. But for snowboarding, you're going to need a 10 and a half. Yeah. And explaining to them that they're a little snug right now. But that comes from what they learned from that rep. You know, whether it's for boards, boots, or bindings, those little things that you learn help push the proper product to the right people.
Now, knowing Trev, this guy can sell ice to a freaking Eskimo, sell shit to a toilet, so to speak. He's a banter god. You got to witness firsthand him on the floor peddling products. How was the kid? How was he watching him work?
Fucking amazing. He really was.
Open and shut case.
It was pretty fucking good. Like him and Little Jeff were hands down sales gods, and Jack too. Jack was really fucking good, but these two for sure.
Yeah.
You know,
kind of goes. Jack
Hakuna Matata was fucking crushing it.
Hakuna Matata, dude. Yeah.
For everyone, Hakuna Matata was the name of their lawn mowing business.
Yeah, a happy customer
Big
over
J
here.
World.
I was a client.
Trevor Brady.
I think I still have some pending Venmo requests.
Yeah, they're
for this yard. But we've written them off.
Yeah, question, what do we do with those? I look at them every time I go to Venmo. Do I decline them? Do I pay them?
Yeah, you know? I mean, interest is just racking up, so you can pay it off now.
We should add those to my gambling golf debts that we have.
Yeah.
Just roll them over.
We'll just add it to your tab.
Just add it and add another little fucking addendum to the note.
Yeah. Dude, Ben, one thing that I thought was really good that you said about Milo specifically, and I think this is something that you instilled in us, was like when you go into a good shop, the shop should be trying to sell you the product that's on the floor. Mm-hmm. But the most important thing is that they're selling you the right product for you. Mm-hmm. You know, and like from the beginning at Milo, especially with Benny, like the vibe was like, hey, try and sell them what we have on the floor. But if we don't have it,
call another
store. Find what they're looking for elsewhere.
Yeah.
You know, like help them get on the right product, because whether they buy it from Milo or wherever else, like the important thing is the consumer's on the right product, so they're going to keep going snowboarding.
Yeah, I 100% was all for that. I'm like, I want the register to ring, but I want that person to walk out super excited that they weren't pressured into buying anything and that they got the right thing. Well, and like Trev said, I would have them get on the fucking phone and call other stores and be like, do you have this? Okay, you should go here and talk to this person, and they have the board that's right for you.
And that would bring that customer usually back to your shop.
They were hyped that we weren't selling them the wrong shit.
Totally. And when you had the right stuff for them, they were there buying it.
Yeah, it's very, very important.
And one other thing too, in just the consumer world, is like even me, you know, getting boards from brands for a million years, you know, where you're like on the website and you're looking at the spec sheet and I'm like, oh, this board's going to be awesome. This is going to be my board, judging on all the criteria. And then I get the board and I'm so excited. And it doesn't ride how I envisioned it or how I expected it to. And I think like the shop person knows that. And
totally.
or like there's no substitute for non-snow demo as well.
Yeah.
Those riding the snowboard will always ultimately give you the best feel.
And the key thing is like you start, before you even show anyone a product, you kind of give them a little interview. You know, what's your background? What other sports do you like? Do you skateboard? You know, like 100%, like kind of stereotyping them, but at the same time, trying to get as much information out of them before you show them anything. So you can tell right away, like, oh, you're a hard charging, you know, road cyclist, you know, that's getting into snowboarding. You ride at Park City, or you ride at Snowbird, or you ride at Brighton. You know, you've never stepped foot on a skateboard. You don't do any sideways sports. So if you can get all this.
What are you going to sell them? What are you going to sell them in that case?
A fucking Pantera.
Stiffest, longest, most camber board we got.
Because that guy wants nothing but stability, and he's never leaving the trail.
I'm starting.
He rides road bikes.
I'm going hard boots. Like, all right, we don't carry these things, but first thing I'm going to do is find you a hard boots.
Let's call some ski shops. Let's get you some hard boots.
The key thing is just getting like that little interview that you give them for the first couple minutes of you even talking to them. Once they actually say yes, they need help, is so important to find them the right things. And then hang out with them. Laugh with them. If you don't know the answer, don't fucking make it up. Be like, let me go check.
Yeah.
You know, and that's another thing that we instilled 100%. Like, go grab a catalog or go get on the website and get the correct answer and come back to them. And they're always like, fuck, I thought you forgot.
Yeah. Yeah,
they just get hyped that you're actually paying attention and you care. And it's all about trying to get them to have the best experience. Another thing that I've loved fixing people's bindings, because people would come in and it's like 8 at night, you close in an hour and they're freaking out because they're on their trip and you don't carry that brand, but you're like, I can probably make it work. And I always tell everyone, take the binding in back, because you're going to have to grind something or cut something and you don't want them watching. But when you come back and you're like, this is a ride toe cap on your Burton binding, but it's going to get you through the next 3 days while you're here. They're just so fucking ecstatic about that.
I bet.
You know, whether it's somebody from out of town or it's some broke kid or it's just one of your team riders that's, you know, has a friend from out of town and his binding broke and you guys are filming tomorrow. Like that thing right there. I mean, it's the connection to your board, you know?
Mm-hmm.
If you can fix that for somebody, they fucking walk out of the store so hyped.
That's actually really cool. I just picked a sticker up from Milo yesterday and it says, "The internet will not fix your snowboard."
Yeah.
And it just says Milo.
It's 100% true.
Yeah.
Another good point too is like especially when you guys were working there too, I feel like sometimes I would just drop my board off and like whoever would be like, give it a tune. And the people that work in the back of the shop, like prep your board insane.
Yeah.
And your edges might have burrs and your shit might be all dinged up. But a well-tuned snowboard is so much more fun to ride.
Oh my God. When you work at a shop too, you get so fucking spoiled with that. Yeah. Like every single day you can tune your board. Like every day you're like, I'll go back and wax it again.
Sticks
one
with
more
you, too.
time.
Well, also the setups that I see on the wall at Milo when you go in the back, like people's got like 40-inch stances that are like 19, negative 19.
When I'm snowboarding and if it's somebody I know, I can't fucking help myself. I'll look at them, I'm like, why do you have your binding set up like that? And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, is there a reason your stance is like that? They're like, oh no, my brother sets it up like this. And I'm like if it's, a cousin, whatever, anyone I know that I can candidly talk to, I'm like, do you mind if I fix that? And you just fix it for them in the next run. They're like, oh my God, there's such a difference.
Don't even ask questions.
Can't help yourself. Or you're like,
totally.
do you know your bindings are on backwards? Are they?
Really?
It's fucking crazy. Yeah. Or they bought an adjustable heel cut binding and they have a size 12 and they've never adjusted it.
Yeah.
Like, do your toes dig in when you're riding?
That's 80% of pros, dude.
Yeah, that's very much so.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Well, and having your stuff set up properly, like, dude, for someone who snowboards 10 times a year, if they're riding a 40-inch stance, like, they're going to have a rough time. Like, if you get them with the proper stance and the right angles for their riding style, like, they're going to automatically get better at snowboarding and have more fun doing it. And, like, dude, that's the value of the core or the independent or the specialty snowboard shop is that, like, that is something that, like, requires an in-person experience with someone who's, like, seasoned and knowledgeable in a certain region. And, like, that's, like, why snowboard shops continue to be, like, the heartbeat of what we do, you know?
Mm-hmm. Damn, he's dropping facts.
That's true. The one thing that's fucking awesome that Knut Eliasson has done on our Nitro YouTube page is he's gone through and shown you the dumbest things, how to set up your stance, how to adjust your heel cup, how to adjust your straps, like the littlest things where I send those to consumers when, these questions come across and they're like, that helped so much. And I'm like, watch these from this one down. Mm-hmm. Like, don't watch them out of order. Just watch from here down and set up your snowboard just like Knut's saying. And that littlest thing, you can go to there's all kinds of YouTube tutorials, but he just breaks it down super simple. It's really quick. And I'm sure it makes so many people's lives better out there for their snowboard experience.
That is so good. I came across that recently and actually texted him right away because I was like, dude, first of all, nice job. Because that is so much work.
It is.
For actually the most boring stuff.
Yeah.
From his perspective, really. Like, I'm going to tell you how to adjust straps in a video and then edit it. Like, that's insane. So
it is.
A lot of respect for that. And that knowledge is literally your foundation if you're going to be a snowboarder. And I mean, you'll never go anywhere if you show up with the 40-inch stance. You just won't.
Yeah.
It will not progress.
Okay, well, we got Trev here, the mind of a great sales aficionado, and Mr. Benny P over here. We kind of talked about it a little bit, but going back to the health of the snowboard industry as a whole, looking at this thing from a 3,000-foot view, what do you think are the things that we need to do as a culture, as a lifestyle, not going to call it a sport, to make this thing thrive? Bone?
I think it starts with brands need to stop overproducing. That's a big part of it. There are certain brands that have yearly numbers that they need to hit and a certain amount of product that they produce even when the demand level's not there. But when they overproduce and product is like everywhere and discounted and the marketplace is dirty, kind of just devalues what we do. So I think that's step number one from a brand standpoint is like get better at forecasting demand and like be realistic with what demand is, because for the overall health, like we need to make sure that we're not overproducing snowboard stuff.
That's very key. Right now we're in the throes of that. We've had, a couple of things that did that. We had a banner fucking COVID boom. Then we had several good West Coast years of snow. And so right now, like shops and brands just kept adding to inventory. And now there's a glut. So we need to burn through that. And the only way that's going to burn through that is you're going to probably sell a little bit less for a season, but it'll overall be healthier.
Damn. And that's the one thing that we haven't talked about that's really simple in snowboarding is like when it snows, people buy snowboards. When it doesn't snow, they don't fucking buy snowboards. And that's like a huge factor we haven't even discussed.
And so this past year, timing of when it snows too. Last year was really tough because like we said, we talked about it earlier, it started snowing, the first week of January and most of the West Coast. Unfortunately, the East Coast had a really rough year last year, but as far as the West Coast is concerned, it started snowing all over the West Coast after like January 10th. The buying cycle is from September 1st to December 24th. And so when things like that don't happen, and it's not the snowboarders that live here, the snowboarders that live at, in Tahoe, the snowboarders that live at Baker, they're going to still buy shit. They're going snowboarding. It just happened a little bit later this year. But the average consumer that lives in Seattle, Los Angeles, San Francisco Bay Area, Reno, Denver, they might be like, oh, it's been a shitty year, and they canceled their snowboard trip because they heard it wasn't snowing or something. There's a lot more people that are buying those things. The recreational consumer, not the lifer, the guy that goes shredding every day. So that has created a huge glut of product because people did not buy.
I got one more maybe.
Yeah, hit it.
I think with technology changing the way that it has with YouTube and influencers and things like that, like it's obvious that there's more ROI there than maybe things like team or events or industry get-togethers. But that sort of thing was what made the snowboarding industry so cool and so unique. And even though you need to get with the times, you need to do TikTok, you need to do YouTube, you need to do influencer stuff maybe, but still support the team riders because that is really what makes the industry what it is. That's what makes it such a fun and cool and unique industry, especially even compared to other action sports industries like ski or bike or whatever it is.
Yeah, we touched on it a few different times and Bone just reiterated the same thing. We need to get back to 100% events that aren't competitions, fun things like the Bombhole Cup, the Baker Bank Slalom, the Dirksen Derby, things that you walk away from and you're like, I got 18th. I don't give a fuck if I got 18th. I had the best. I won funnest guy this weekend or something, Yep. It doesn't matter what place you get. It's just the gathering and the friendships and the camaraderie and who you stay with and just the entire ordeal that goes on in that whole weekend is what you bring out of it. Mm-hmm. And those things are timeless and so valuable.
Guys are dropping facts. For the record, Bone had me covered at Bombhole Cup this year too. I had him covered lap 1 and then he came back clutch. Mopped me up.
I mean, Bombhole Cup is definitely a competition. I'm going to go there next year and mop shit up. So yeah, I got to take Seth down.
Yep. Got some work to do.
There's some work to do there.
I've actually been using anabolic steroids and HGH just to get ready for Bombhole Cup 2025.
Finally.
I want to real quick, Trev, I want to hit, and Benny, you answer this too. I think, you mentioned this influencer and in that we all say it. It's not, this isn't directed to you specifically, but let's hit this influencer thing because we need to do that. And I guess that's the question. Do we actually need to participate in this influencer idea? There's this influencer genre of snowboarding. That's fine, but there's also influencer products to fit that profile. So fuck them, dude. Like, we have our stuff, right? So, like, hone in, dude. Like, pay the snowboarder. If you're a snowboard company,
For sure.
pay the snowboarder.
I mean, I agree with that. You know, I think like there are certain cases where there are influencers who are brought on who like are an organic touch point. Like they're actually ripping snowboarders probably.
Yeah, like Casey Willax, for example,
Yeah,
he's a
yeah.
YouTuber,
Yeah.
and he
Well,
fucking switchback nines and shit.
Cali
He's
Day.
100%.
There's
very
few. There's very few. I agree.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was talking like with the influencer route, you know, but like I completely agree, you know, like I mean, pro snowboarders like they hate when I say this, but they kind of are influencers. They just do it in a way that is on par with where the industry is at, and like they're able to tell the brand story in a more organic way. But yeah, I don't think you should be like hiring Kim K to like whatever advertise your bindings. But I think there's like with Casey, with Callie, with a couple more, there are like actual organic touch points that like it could make sense for.
Well, and I would call. I agree. I think there is people that make sense for sure. Yeah, I mean it's hard. I get it. It's hard.
I love all the buzzwords, the fucking snowboard meeting buzzwords. This guy,
it's on. I got to roll it down.
Touch point,
brand alignment,
consumer centric.
Yeah.
We can do flashcards next time. Dude.
Absolutely.
Zoom meeting buzzword bone.
If we could get the team rider to take that on their own and do it their own way, I've been fucking pushing Griff for years to be like, you don't got to say a fucking word. Just go snowboarding and just film you setting up your board, you shredding, and then throwing it in the car. I'm like, that's an experience. You don't have to vlog. You don't have to do a review, nothing. Like, there's not that many snowboarders that are willing to take it on. And in other sports, there are those people that I don't watch because I want to hear them fucking talk. They're going to a cool place. It's probably a zone I'm going to go visit. So I want to see what the trails are like. And I watch it. And it's them at the end, like cracking a beer and then curtains. Mm-hmm. That's it. You know, and it's like, you don't have to be.
It's a mountain biker.
You don't have to be influencing, you know?
Absolutely.
You're just creating an experience.
Mm-hmm. And I like Trevor's point, like recognizing that you are an influencer. Like the pro snowboarder that's not doing that is missing an opportunity and actually sending that money to Casey.
Totally.
Because Casey is a snowboarder.
Yeah.
That's an influencer and he's good at that. And so people can see the value in that one easy. And then but they're going to go to Snowboard Jesus and kick him something versus the rider.
Yeah.
Because the riders just won't accept that role.
They really have to fucking start doing it.
Straight up.
Yeah, and they can dictate how they want to come across.
The hard part is like coming from the old guard. God, we had it good, Jeremy.
Oh, we had it.
God, we had it good. Holy shit.
They did everything for me. We just had to show up.
You show up, someone points the camera at you, you slide down a goddamn rail, and they put you in the video, and you're a golden god, you party all summer, and you fucking become, and you're just, but it's just changed. Now, like, the rider has their own channels and their social media. Like, we didn't have to deal with that shit. It was fantastic. But nowadays, it's just, in order to, you just got to do more, or the next guy will.
They have the easiest part because their name's already known.
Yep.
So their name is known. These other people are trying to create their own name. You know, it could be just their name. You know, it is like Craig McMorris has his own channel. He doesn't call himself like Mc whatever. It's Craig McMorris. You know, it's his channel.
Craig McTavish, like a legendary hockey player.
Yeah. So I just don't understand why they can't. They're already filming. They're already doing all this thing. They're getting their own footage. They use GoPros. Everybody's clipping up constantly.
Here's the thing though, because I did make a good run at, like, I was like, I'm gonna fucking launch my channel, and it is like, it's easy to say that stuff, but to put out consistent content that is of decent quality is a tremendous amount of effort, and you need to be dedicated. You need to be good at time management. You got to like, it's not a thing that's easy. Like the people that do it well, like Mark McMorris, he's got his own, he's got Russell 69 following him around. You know, people that like Sage, for example, his is just quality snowboarding, but he's got Germ following him around. Like to do it yourself, to be the talent and also the media manager is extremely challenging. But the people that are smart, that have big enough budgets, that are lucky enough to do it, have somebody that are kind of following them around.
For sure.
And those that are doing it, like Jill Perkins comes to mind. You know, Sage comes to mind. I even think like Taxwood comes to mind. He just does it like a little bit like more his style. But those who understand that, Blake Paul's a great example of it.
Blake's an amazing example of it.
Those who understand it and know really what the job entails now, in addition to being really good at snowboarding and having a following and being marketable, are the ones who are continually getting bigger contracts. They're the ones who are not on the cut list. Like, you kind of got to just embrace it and do it your own way. But like the way that Blake does it, the way that Jill does it, it's organic. It's not overproduced, but like they understand like what they're there to do, you know?
But there is, I mean, they have to understand that there is a threat, that somebody in a marketing department somewhere probably is being like, what about this influencer? You know, like take that out of the equation and be like, this guy, these team riders are already doing this. Let's just support them. Because like Jeremy said, there's a lot of them that can't fucking snowboard.
Yeah.
They're horrible.
If you really think about the word influencer, what you're almost describing is somebody with a big following on the internet that isn't credible. Like that's almost what I'm hearing you guys describe it as, is like somebody who has got a big following on the internet and in their respected craft, but they don't have the credibility of the merits, so to speak, of, you know, your traditional path to get there, or the skill set. And but they speak to their audience really well. Is really what they do. They speak to the audience of people who are looking for that content. But what we would like to see is the people that are fucking talented as shit on a snowboard, that are embedded in the core culture and the community of what we do, to be in those spots.
And most likely for me, I'm so sick of the short clip. I want to see them rip a run. You know, like there's always like, you know, when skateboarding went to like how Zero was doing it, and it was just clip, 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 clip. And then all of a sudden, you know, the next skater, let's say it's fucking Jason Lee, whomever, who you get to watch them push down the street.
Yeah.
You get to see their style. You get to see them do some setup tricks, or how they catch their tray flip after they land the trick they were trying and whatnot. Like, I want to see someone's style. I don't need to hear them talk, you know?
The day-to-day life stuff is huge too. Like I remember as a kid, there was a 411 snow, and I'm pretty sure it was a day in the life with you, Jared.
Oh yeah.
And you got a fat box of forum boards.
Fat box that day.
I'm pretty sure you skated Guthrie Sandy or something.
Weren't you jumping off the roof or something?
Crooked grinded the top of the trailer. Dude.
There we go.
Yep.
There we go. See,
your nose pressed it.
That type of stuff, like, dude, it doesn't have to be overproduced. Like,
it doesn't.
People just want to see like what the vibe is, what you're up to. You know,
there's a reason when the video used to be over, you'd watch the extras. Yeah. Because the extras were cool as shit.
Yep. All right, this is a good chat. How good is Bone in here? You guys, Bone's a natural.
I mean, I just feel at home, dude. With Ben,
dude, you're the second person to ever use the doggy door and come into this conversation like this, and I think the doggy door is a success.
I'd say there's 2 kills so far.
It's also just seeing his head, like no harm.
Oh yeah. I mean, dude,
you're gonna get your own little light and your own mic next.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I'll just come in anytime you want. You're a legend, Ben. Love you, dog.
I love you too, Bone.
Appreciate you, Bone. How'd you hit him yesterday? One last question.
Oh, dude.
What did we shoot?
73.
Woo!
It was clean.
Was that one over?
I lipped out. That was one over. I lipped out a birdie for 72 on the 18th hole.
That's what happened last week too.
That's what happened last week.
Just out of curiosity, what time of day are you playing?
After 5, in the dark. I mean, dude, pretty much like after 5.
Yeah.
I'll hit the 5:05 tee time because I know I can finish before it's
still hot as fuck.
Kid can swing
a couple deals, freaking hit a couple birdies. That's how it goes.
What he does, you catch him on the course, he's hitting those corporate buzzwords right before he hits his backswing.
Okay, I gotta go.
Yeah.
Gotta go. Another call. Later.
Watch the ROI on this swing.
All right, boys. Appreciate you, Bone.
Love you, brother.
Love you, dog.
Peace, Bone.
That was great.
That was good.
All right, I want to change gears here, pivot, if you will. Now, Benny, you're a bird local, aka Snowbird. First of all,
one of the best places on earth.
Yeah, sell me on Snowbird.
Oh God, long runs, uninterrupted fall lines, no flats, no traversing back to the lift, even though that is fun sometimes too. I'd love fucking that you get multiple pitches every single run. I do love that you get a break sometimes if the tram line's not too long to take your board off your feet. I love, I don't seem to get the same like storm intensity, probably because Brighton's got bigger peaks around it. So that intensity of when you do get off the tram in midwinter storm, you feel like you're in like a gale force hurricane per se. And it's only on the ridges, of course, you know, it settles right down.
Chips Run?
Pardon me?
Chips Run?
Chips Run's not for me as much as it is others. I do love it, but it is the most crowded run on the entire resort too. Not every day, but every afternoon when the entire backside closes, everyone empties into Chips Run. And I just do not like, I think it's the probability of there being some interaction with another person is high. And I just don't like that. There's so many nooks and crannies. You know, people. It is a very jagged and rugged place. You could get away from people and have your own little world going on at any point in time.
I need to have.
What else do I like? I really do like parking. I mean, Brighton, you can do the same thing. I love the idea of parking super close to the mountain. Mm-hmm. You can park literally on the bypass road, walk across the street, strap in, and go down to the lift, which is fucking awesome. I don't like canyon closures.
Oh yeah,
it's a fucking nightmare. I don't like
Alta.
red snakes, but that I fucking hate. I love Alta. I fucking hate the Alta Lift Company. Mm-hmm. Just for Todd Richards, I told him that I might say something like this: "Fuck Alta."
Nice, solid.
Because he's been getting bombarded with hate, and he kind of loves it.
Yeah,
he's a masshole. He's down.
Oh, he thrives.
But I just have had some of the most incredible days of my life up there. Absolutely. It's just like any mountain. Some days fucking suck. Mm-hmm. They really suck. They're crowded and whatnot. But those magical days that you get, I'm a big day after the storm type of guy now at Snowbird, because the hype is, calmed down a little bit. Typically, if it's snowed enough, there's not some areas that have been saved. But I also like that it's freshly groomed everywhere. So when you're on the runs, you're not getting bounced around in choppy pow and whatnot. There's wall hits, you can see, and there's just a lot less people. But there are those magical days where you get there, just like at Brighton too, or any of the resorts in Utah. When you get there early in the morning, it's just barely snowing, or they've reported 3 inches. It already feels like 8 or 10, and then it just starts dumping. Nobody's going to be able to be like, oh, I'm taking today off. Those people have already made their decision to not come up, or they went to school that day or whatever. So those magical days you get at any one of the resorts here in the Wasatch really just suck you in. I mean, there's a reason we get stuck here, because we love it. Those days keep us here.
Okay, we got a guest question from none other than Birdloke Bjorn Linus. Here we go.
What's going on, Bombhole? This is Bjorn, Benny. Much love, brother. Hey, couple quick questions here. Being a birdloke, what are the best birdloke nicknames? What's your top 5 birdloke nicknames of all the homies from the 90s? You guys were always slaying it on the forefront up there. And did you ever have a nickname? I can't really peg you with one, but maybe there's something I don't know about. Have a great time. Looking forward to listening to this. Peace out.
You heard Johan make a reference to it. Cody Dresser, I remember, used to spend a lot of time up there because his wife, Kim, used to work up there. And he'd be like, I can't wait till I get my own nickname. And there was some fucking weird ones. So I'd say, for me, in top 5, there was a guy named Resin. That was his name.
Fantastic.
And he had green dreads. He was your typical, 90s,
looked like a
snowboarder.
resin.
Exactly.
Totally.
Nose ring, everything. His name was Resin. There's another guy named Gramps. He's amazing. He loves the bumps. His brother is named Anthony, but we call him Chovy. That's an incredible one. And then there's Scramble. and they call him Scramble because he's hit his head a few too many times. Then probably the one that's one of the ones that's not even that crazy of a nickname, but it's stuck, and no one ever knew his name, and people probably still don't. The inventor of the splitboard, Cowboy.
Oh, yeah.
Brett Kobernick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but there was a million other cast members, you know.
Yours?
I never had one.
Damn.
The only one everyone used to call me Tree Squirrel because I would fucking purposely, like, that's how I learned snowboard so well, is I would try to get stuck and then figure my way out. And that's how you'd find a zone. There'd be like a rope and people like, don't go over there. I'm like, well, let's just go over there and figure out if we can get through. If not, we'll walk out.
Yeah.
It's not that big of a deal. I've hiked out so many times, but I've also found some of the coolest spots.
I like that. We have a...
Bjorn, by the way, when they were children at Snowbird, I was, already in my early 20s. I don't remember how old Bjorn was, but Bjorn, Eric, and his oldest brother, Tor, were always ripping around Snowbird. Their parents moved him there at a young age. And I got to be good friends. I'd see his dad and his mom on the tram every day. And I was like, hey, can I take your kids for a run? And I didn't know. It was still an early time in the year where I didn't know about avalanches. I didn't really think about them. They were probably obviously still going on at that point. But we ducked this rope, and it was like a main fucking area, Baldy, which is very visible. And I'm like, oh, I've been ducking this rope all day. And they followed me, and we did this like insane power run right to the groomer, and there was 3 ski patrolmen waiting for us. So I said, hey, can I take your kids for a run? And then got their passes clipped.
Legendary.
Did they have nicknames, the Linus brothers?
No, they didn't at all.
Clipped?
That I can remember.
The Clipped brothers?
And they got their passes back immediately, and mine was gone for 2 weeks.
Classic.
Yeah.
Silk, we got a Patreon question. First, want to say thank you to all of our Patreon members that support the show. Couldn't do this without you. Why don't we hit that Captain Surge one? That one seems good.
That's a good
thank
name.
you so much, Captain Surge. Maybe Snowbird nickname. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Benny, how many DIY swallowtail boards have you made or
shit.
interlodged at the cliff?
Well,
Fuck, that is a really good one.
That is a good question.
I only know of 2, but these were interlodged at the cliff. We can't even
explain what interlodged is.
Yeah.
So interlodge, I just talked to you about like magical days of snowboard, snowfall. So you wake up in the morning or whatever, something happens. Oh, the storm just hits that canyon correctly, and next thing you know, the road gets slid on and they can't open the road. So you're stuck up at Snowbird, and not only are you stuck at Snowbird, but you're also interlodged. You can't leave the building because avalanches hit the buildings, hit the road. They have a very hard time. If there's a million restaurants up there and whatnot, so you can walk from hotel to hotel. But if it was a high danger evening and something happened, there's no way to account for those people. So they literally lock the doors. They don't lock them, but they have cameras and someone sitting at them, because if there was ever a problem, you'd have to get out. But there's a sign that says interlodge. You may not leave the building. It can be prosecuted by law because there is some sort of statute up there where they can get you for leaving interlodge. But you're stuck up there, sometimes for days at a time. So a couple of times we've been up there and it snowed so hard and you're like, oh, I wish I had my longer board or this other board. And so we would, at one point or another, just be like, let's cut swallowtails on our boards. And you'd know from working up there and knowing people, you'd know the people that work building maintenance, they got a tool shop. So next thing you know, you're in the basement of some hotel, fucking grabbing 2 saucers and a plate for the radius and tracing them on there and cutting them up and freaking having a swallowtail fresh for the morning.
That's amazing.
Incredible. And for the listeners that don't know, swallowtail is going to help in the deep powder because your tail's going to sink in, you're going to float.
Captain Surge, that's a good one.
Captain Surge.
Captain Surge is in the know.
Great
Swallowtails
question.
also work on kink rails, right?
Yeah, you're going dead straight into a handrail.
There's one right there.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend building it the way I did. No saucers or calculations.
They got trapped in
Boston,
the hood
Massachusetts.
in Boston, and they were forced to cut that board.
That one. So, Silk, we've been going for a while. You know what we almost forgot here?
I feel like we might have almost forgotten about Name That Video Part.
Oh, shit. I have zero idea what genre you're going to pull out from
I obviously went old school because you're older than I am.
So here's...
I think you're a secret kind of vault of knowledge, though.
I do know videos, but it's just because they would play in the background of the shop for hours on end, so I wouldn't know which video it is a lot of times. They just
Sounds
be
like
playing.
I'm already hearing excuses.
Is that what that is?
Is that an excuse?
Maybe.
He already is like handing his cards.
Preemptively saying.
He's basically saying he has no chance. Confidence level 0 through 10. Benny.
I'm looking at a 6.
6.
Oh,
I like
nice.
that.
That is confident.
I respect that.
Yeah.
6.
Kind of
Because I
contradicts
usually
your
can
excuse.
recognize them.
All right.
Yeah, I like it.
Let's see how you do here. I think this video, for the record, when people are complaining, why don't you get a better quality? I ripped this video from the internet. I think they filmed it off the screen, so the audio quality is dog shit.
Oh, perfect.
Apologize in advance. Here we go.
Meltdown Project.
Not Meltdown Project. You want to take another stab at it? Or you want to keep floundering or just kind of...
Let's fucking listen to it again.
Okay. Do you know the band in the song?
No effects.
Yep, that's right. You got something for that.
It's a Mac Dog video.
There may have been a limo involved in this video.
Roadkill.
Oh, there he is! The intro to Roadkill. That's the intro.
I
Fall
knew
Line.
Yep.
it. It is Fall Line. That's in a great movie. I was there for the filming of some of that. It was at Snowbird.
Yep.
Fucking amazing.
Yep. And we have...
The fact that they got the fucking limos up the canyon in snow was insane. Holy shit.
So what we got here is a bomb hole goodie bag. We have the bomb hole patches on that North Face tote. You can put all your snowboard
Hold
gear
that
in
thing
there.
up.
That thing is fucking amazing.
You got
Can
some
you even
smelling
lift it?
salts. I thought it was a functional bag. Thank you, Pashley, for sending us
Heck
that.
yeah, dude.
Patch, you're the man.
And yeah, so there's bomb
Amazing.
Hole, there's bomb hole stuff in there. You got smelling salts. You got a water bottle with your name and the episode number. That's new.
I love it.
Very fancy. We got a label maker.
Yeah, we got a label.
Hey,
maker.
I brought
dang.
stuff for you guys.
Oh wow!
Oh.
What?
This is for Silk.
What? Silk D.
New water bottle.
Ooh.
Silk D. First,
Might be
thanks for-
trading out.
Look at
the
that.
old,
And
bomb
family.
water bottle.
Nice
This is
to
for
fam.
Jules, even though she's in California. It's a beautiful
You got Akita.
nitro Tupperware.
She'll use that. She brings her own lunch all the time. She's gonna love that.
What?
Wow.
Pretty nice Tupperware. Reusable.
In Boston, we call that a Tupperware, dude.
That's right.
Fucking Tupperware. Yeah.
For you, since you're such a tool guy.
Oh wow! What do we got here?
We got you a
Number 3.
screwdriver.
Number 3. This is a proper. Yep, like that.
Those are good. My favorite ones. I have 2 of those.
Yeah, no.
And you guys
stripping.
both, you and Jeremy, I know are knife guys. I don't know if Jeremy's already gotten one of these. Have I given you a knife?
You haven't given me a knife, no.
Okay. Here's one for you. Oh, wait. Flip those. Yeah.
Switch them. Okay.
And check them out. They're pretty damn nice.
All right. Look at this. We got a freaking look at the packaging. This is
Cook. I haven't
fantastic.
heard of these.
Look at these babies.
Oh, yeah. We got the N on there.
Look at this quality nitro.
You guys are knife guys. I knew it.
Yeah. In case I need to stab somebody, I'll keep this in my truck if the road rage
Yeah, we're
incident
good. We're
happens.
dialing. Thank you,
Yeah.
Benny.
Thanks,
I know
Ben.
Jeremy carries a knife.
Always.
Oh yeah. Jeremy keeps that thing on him.
And then for the rest of the crew, I brought 2 different hats that they can fight over.
Yeah, autumn hats. I'll take
Yep, some good ones.
Send them over.
Thank you, Benny.
Thanks for bringing gifts, Benny.
Heck yeah.
Thank you, Ben.
And also
Absolutely. You guys can give us a gift every week almost with a new episode. So
appreciate
we
that.
need to reciprocate.
Here, I'm gonna take this one. You can have this one. Appreciate the gifts. And okay, for part 2 of Name That Video part, this is for the listeners. It's not for you, Benny, so you don't have to worry.
That's fucking just fine.
Yep. And if you know the song, comment on the photo of Benny on our Instagram, the thumbnail photo we call it. That's where we pick our winner. Here we go. Okay, thank you guys for playing. Name that video part. Also, thank you for all the Patreon questions over the years.
Oh my God, I love it.
seriously.
Most
I fucking
consistent.
get
Every
so
episode.
stoked.
Do we
when
have
they
data
come
on that?
across.
I don't have the data, but
We need to
someone
pull
needs
that.
to do some research.
We almost have to give
It could be a guest question. How many Patreon questions Benny has called?
How many
in?
episodes we done? 200
Yeah,
or whatever,
about
190
200.
something.
There-
It's gotta be close to
you
that.
You guys send them
Yeah.
along at the perfect time at work because we're checking our email all damn day anyways. So they come across and I'm always so hyped on it, and I love asking questions.
They're usually, you know what, I have to say, not all of them make it, but your questions are good.
Yeah.
Good,
how do you come up with them all?
Almost all the
good
time.
questions make good answers.
I'm a fucking snowboard nerd, man. I follow up on everything. And I appreciate all types of snowboarding. Every single person.
Okay.
From Jonas Michelot to fucking Travis Rice.
You always have.
I like
too.
your non-narrow-minded perspective. Speaking of Patreon, let's hit a Patreon question. Let's go Cake Pound Crew. Speaking of another Patreon kind of Hall of Famer jersey in the rafters, Cake Pound Crew has good questions.
Yeah, no Benny Pellegrino, but they're up there.
Yeah, Cake Pound.
Actually, Benny Pellegrino does have a question. Why don't we hit that? He does. He did ask a question.
I told you that I get him.
Yeah, Benny, we have a question from Benny Pellegrino. Benny asks, Benny, why are you so handsome? How do you do it?
Don't stop.
Don't stop. Just keep moving.
I figured, I'm like, what am I going to ask myself? Something stupid.
All right, so the Cake Pound Crew question.
So he doesn't work at Milo anymore for the reference, but I think our Patreon member.
We'll get the gist.
Yep.
You'll understand. There's a question in here somewhere, probably. So you run one of the most iconic shops in the world, or ran. I'm sure there are tons of applications on a regular basis to work there. What are some things you look for in a new employee?
Solid.
You know what's pretty fucking crazy is I don't know if I've ever hired someone off an application. It always has been usually some of our best customers or a team rider that shows that he has knowledge about snowboarding and isn't somebody that is going to try to cool guy anyone. So it's either going to be a team rider, a young team rider, because typically an older team rider is not going to be around and whatnot. But no applications. It's always been really good customers where I'm like, hey, do you want a job? Because it's somebody that spends a lot of time there, obviously loves the store, so that's two prerequisites right there. And then third is very interested in knowledge about what we sell and what we do. Not one application. We never had applications. People would always come in and say, can I have an application? I'm like, print one offline and drop it in. And anyone that I've never, ever hired anyone off an application.
You would get them though
all the time
on occasion.
And it was very seldom that it was somebody that we already knew that was doing that. Because typically it was word of mouth, somebody that was a friend of a friend that is a good customer or a team rider.
And this opens up a little bit of a can of worms. Talking to Johan, he was like, Benny is a connector. He connects people. Like even for you, you're sending me, hey, you should have Hetzel on. Here's his number. And I got it unsolicited and or whatever it is. There's always, you're always linking me up. If I'm doing something, hey, go over here, connect with this person. You are like a intermediary connector of people. And that makes me think about relationships and, you're basically hiring based on relationships and this kind of ecosystem of it's not what you know, but it's who you know. And I'd love to hear you kind of wind you up and go about, the importance of relationships in this industry.
I just think that there's certain people that you can see the spark in someone and see someone else. And like, if these two got together, there's going to be magic that's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that's incredible. Like somebody will say something, I'll see a comment or hear something and I'm like, I know that person. That person just randomly said, I wish this would happen. And I'm like, I think I can help make that happen. And I just feel like I don't know why I do it, but it just naturally, I'm like, oh, I should connect those two. Mm-hmm. And it's always been that way, whether it is like one of the key things. And I think George Johnson instilled this in me, was making the connection between kid and company. Because the kid had no idea how to do it. So I would explain to the kid, like, this is how this works, I'm going to talk to this rep, whether it's an in-house rep for skateboarding, because there's typically not reps outside, or it is a physical rep for snowboarding. And I'm like, I'm going to make this connection for you guys. And I'll be the liaison in the beginning, but beyond that, you guys are going to have to learn, the rep and those guys already know how to do it, but it's that kid that's just so nervous and scared to not know how to do it, because there is no application for sponsorship. That just doesn't happen. So there's got to be some way to get them to meet these people. And that connecting those, I think, has led me to do that as I've grown and whatnot. And to just two different people that would have some sort of friendship that would blossom and or a relationship business, team rider, whatever, to just put them together.
Fantastic. I love that. I'm going to change gears real quick here because I have a note talking to, I think it was Johan. He said there's a Baker trip where you, Hetzel, Wes, Temple, and Johan
and Guy Desheen
linked up with the big dogs, and Temple took you guys down some spicy shit.
So we were at Baker. Hetz and Temp I already knew super well. I'd gotten to get to know Wes. Wes is fucking amazing. And he's always been one of my crazy, out of this world rider that just has so much power. Wasn't a trick guy, just power and style.
He made the 40-inch stance play.
Just because he's 6, whatever. Yeah.
It played.
The kid can ollie fucking neck high.
So sick.
Trying to follow him anywhere and he hits a rope ollie, you're like, what the fuck? It's neck high for me. But we get, I tell Johan, I'm coming up. We're going to go to Baker and go hang with these guys. And he's like, I don't know if I could make it. And he's like, well, I'll drive you up there. And we were going to be there for 7 days, I think. And he hung out for the first 2 days. And it was all these guys. Wes and Guy were staying. Wes was in his van. Guy was in his truck, just parked out in front of my friend's house in Glacier. And it snowed like a motherfucker every single day. And Temp's not one to normally have a squad either. He's 1-2 people max. So people would notice it around the resort. They're like, whoa, Temp, you got quite the squad today. And he'd be like, yeah. But everyone that he was with, he wasn't super worried about, So he was taking us into all kinds of shit. There'd be things where we'd pull up somewhere and it would just be a disappearing rollover. And he'd look at people's boards. He's like, your board's too long or your board's too long. You guys can't come. And we'd be like, why? What are we getting into? And it would be some crazy fucking, 50-degree chute you had to slide down in. There's this thing called the Rascal.
Yep.
And it was getting into the Rascal. And he's just like, your boards are too big. You can't make it in there. And so it's certain different things. And there's a classic one. It was the morning of, we're driving up super early. It's snowing like crazy. We're way earlier than the lifts are going to open. They're like, we're going to do some road runs. And there's this, famous road run up there behind the church. So you start behind the church. It's beautiful POW for a long ways. And then all of a sudden you get to one of those spots again where everything just disappears. Feels like the, edge of the world. It just falls down. And all of a sudden Temple, we had to stop him and be like, dude, can you please speak up when you're giving directions? Because he'd mumble something and just disappear. And you're like, where the fuck did he go? And then Wes would be over here disappearing, and Guy and whatever. And then the classic part is Hetz is easing into something. And I'm like, what do you think? He's like, oh God, don't follow me. And so Johan and I look at each other. I'm like, hike up. We were all, yep, let's get the fuck out of here. And we turned around. It was just your classic Baker line. It wasn't anything that gnarly, but you just couldn't see anything. Because the snow doesn't stick to snow or the snow doesn't stick to the same terrain like us here. Mm-hmm. It can go 90 degrees and there's still fucking snow.
Yep.
So classic trip, snowed every day. Johan left for a bunch of days and I just got to shred with those guys every day and it was fucking amazing. There was another thing, we're out on the arm and Guy goes first and Temple's going, God, I hope he sees that hole. God, I hope he sees that hole. And he's just literally like a magnet to this thing because there was a lip in front of it. And I don't think he saw the hole. And he goes to ollie this fucking lip and just lands in this massive, one of those weird fucking depressions from just the earth creating a hole. And he just disappeared.
Oh.
Yeah. And we're like, oh, fuck, is he okay? And all of a sudden we see him hiking out. It was fucking amazing. Incredible trip. One for the books.
All
That's
time.
a crew.
I got another note here I'd love to talk about. We briefly talked about, retailers when Trev was here about how he got to go on some trips, but you running a shop for so long had go on a million retailer trips. And I was told one specifically where you went to Baldface with one brand and another brand kept you there for another week.
I did that twice.
Yeah.
So I would go up to Baldface and I would be like, oh, wow, Skull Candy, Jeff Pensero would be like, hey, why aren't you on this next trip? Skull Candy's coming. And I was like, I don't know. I didn't get invited on that. And he's like, I think a couple of them dropped out. And I'd be like, fuck, well, let's see if I can stay. So I would wait and try to get on the last heli. And then when those guys would show up, I'd ask them that I heard there's space. And fucking sure enough, I would be able to stay. I did it on a Forum trip.
That is so Benny.
And a Skull Candy trip. And then I would figure out how to get back to Spokane.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing.
Man.
And then another time, Jeff's like, we got some openings. And at that point, the going rate was probably $2,500, whatever. And he's like, I got 2 openings. And I was with my friend Dave. And I'm like, well, how much for us to stay? And I'm like, you already have the spots. And Jeff's like, give me $800. So we would give him $800 and stay for a 4-day trip.
Dope.
Insane.
That's so
legendary.
good.
Do you have a favorite retailer trip of all time?
Oh, man. I'm glad you asked that because when he brought up the Oakley trip, so we once went on an Oakley trip for 10 days at Whistler, staying at the Westin.
Ooh.
Wow. For 10 days.
Burning budget.
So
Burning.
every day, we're like, on the way up to, we get there, there's this like beautiful bus. We get to Squamish. Some dude gets on the bus, says, hey, where's Warble? And it's Eric Warble.
Yes.
So Warble fucking jumps up and he's like, here, I got your weed, and throws him a 1/4 pound of weed. and he goes, I thought I was buying a 1/4 ounce. And so he's just like, and the guy goes, well, figure it out, and got off the bus and fucking took off. So he divvied up weed for everybody. And for 10 days, we did nothing. We're like, what are we supposed to do? Is there any meetings? And like, there was like a meeting on Tuesday and then a meeting on Thursday for like an hour. But every morning, they're like, just find somebody from Oakley, go shred with them. We went cat skiing twice during those 10 days down at Ken Ockenbach's place.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun. Powder Mountain, I think it was called. And it was just so fucking amazing. Because then for dinner, like, what's dinner plans? Just find someone from Oakley and go out to dinner with them. So we'd go every night. You'd find someone from Oakley. You just sit in the lobby basically, and wait till someone walk by, and they're like,
"Hey, you got a credit card?"
100%, and like, literally 10 days.
Damn. That ain't bad.
No. It was incredible.
That's
there was
insane.
another really good one to Europe, where we went to like 10 days with Palmer. So it was Palmer, and at the time they were doing like border cross boards, and they had these allegiances with other people. And we went for 10 days all over Austria, Switzerland, and Italy.
One thing
We've
that's
been on
not
some
really
good
happening
ones.
anymore,
No.
right?
No.
Not so much.
Johan told me that there's a funny story when he met you in Valdez.
That was a really good one. I went to Valdez with my friend Stephen Scott from New Zealand, and we were living in George's basement, and we started being like, we should go to Alaska. Everyone's going to Alaska. Let's go check it out. So we go to Valdez, we get off the plane, we stay at this place called the B&B. It's just sounds like it's a bed and breakfast, but it's just some shitty old place with super cheap rooms with lots of bunks in them. And so this guy that ran powder tools at Snowbird, Jason Kraut, was like, oh, all my friends from Steamboat are going to be there. And they all ran powder tools out there. They helped start powder tools, and then they ran one out here. He's all, you should look for my friend Johan. And I was like, cool, you know, I didn't even think about it or remember it. We get up there, we go shred in a couple days. Fucking amazing. And anyone snowboarders that haven't been to Alaska and you can somehow figure it out, you should go. But we're at the B&B and someone's like, oh, the dude's from Steamboat or in room whatever. And this is like 10:30 at night. And I go up there, I'm like, oh, I'm going to go introduce myself. I'm kind of hammered. We've been partying. And I fucking knock on the door and someone like opens it and they're like, can I help you? And I looked at them like, you guys from Steamboat? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, oh, Jake Kraut fucking told me to come say hi to you. And they opened the door and I said, which one of you motherfuckers is Johan? And they all said, they looked at me and I was like hammered. And I think I kind of kicked the door open. And they're like, who is this dude? I'm going to fucking kill him.
Proper entrance for Johan.
And then that's how we became friends.
Did we
makes
step
sense.
brothers? Did we just become best friends? Moment?
Yeah, 100%.
Totally.
That's what it was. And we did. We became incredible friends from that day forward.
Who's faster on a mountain bike, you or Johan?
Oh, come on.
Stupid question.
That is fucking ridiculous.
I'm sorry. So it's you, right?
Yeah, he walks down things.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, dude. Jeremy flies on a mountain bike. Just random, total sidebar. Who impresses you for speed wise in the snowboard world when you're out on a mountain bike?
Speed wise in the snowboard world.
Yeah. Because I've heard you fly. I've never ridden with you.
Gosh, who would it be?
Jeremy's got pace. A Faircloth has pace.
Faircloth's fucked up. That's an unfair advantage, though.
Yep.
He just wants to. He knows how to corner on everything.
Yep.
I mean,
I'd say Alex Andrews is pretty fucking good.
Yeah, Alex.
He's more style though.
He can jump well.
Yeah.
Well, I'm spacing.
Pinner.
Pinner. I was gonna. Yeah. Pinner's for sure the snowboarder.
He was a World
that's
Cup
the
racer at one point.
He's in
Junior
that Palmer category then.
Oh yeah, like I'll never forget this in my life. We were at some little crazy run up in Park City. I think it's called Sweeney Switchbacks, and there's this really fucking crazy pirate trail off the side of it. And it came into this rock chute that had like a distinct turn, barely wide enough for your bars. And Pinner like pulls up to it where I'm right behind him, and he gets up into a nose wheelie, stops, and then just like nollies in, like just popped into this rock chute. And me and my friend PK were like, what the fuck was that? It was insane. He was just playing. It was like a dangerous area. And he just slowed down, got up into a nose wheelie, and just like popped in.
He's so fun to watch.
And he makes everything look so
same on a
smooth.
snowboard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever get a chance to see him at I Street, it's crazy.
So, Benny, we talked a ton about retail and running a shop and all these things, and you've transitioned to work over at Nitro Snowboards. And I'd love to hear you elaborate on that role and what that looks like these days.
Yeah, real quick, though, like one of the coolest things is like I had always looked up to Nitro. It's probably from Scooter and Tonino and whatnot. And I ended up, when Josh Roberts and Cal started being a part of it, I'm like, wow, I wonder if there's ever a way that I could become a part of this. And I talked to Cal and Josh about it a little bit. And they were like, maybe if there was any way that you could come over and help us do this and that and whatnot. And I'm like, fuck, this is something I really want to do. And that's based in Salt Lake City. I just always liked the ethos of what they did. They were a little bit metal. They did things differently, and I really liked that. And then my lady, Tori, has these stupid things in our room that I fucking hate, but they are amazing. Our vision boards.
Cool.
And she's like, what are your goals? What is a big goal that you want to do? And she's like, if you put it up there, you're going to see it every day. Things are going to change. And when we moved into our new house, we haven't put them back up, but I'm going to put them back up because it really helped change my life. And I put, a picture of the Nitro logo up on the vision board. I'm like, I'm going to make this a reality. I want this to happen. So when I was transitioning out of ownership of Orem and I started working in Salt Lake, that was the plan for me to come into Salt Lake and maybe move into something at Nitro. And so I just kept it in my head. And then an ownership change happened at Foundry Distribution where Cal and Josh weren't a part of it anymore. But then little Jeff started working there. I was like, I still have an in. I got to try to figure this out. And so I went to the trade show. I saw Lil Jeff. I'm not going to call him Lil Jeff anymore. I saw Jeff Richards. Sorry, Jeff. You did it to yourself with all those video parts. So I went to the trade show. I watched them work together. I met Ryan. I met some other people. I knew Canute from Milo. I really liked him. And I'm like, fuck, this just looks like a golden opportunity. And so once my lady made me do this, put it on the vision board, I'm like, okay, I'm going to start trying to make this happen. So I wrote Ryan a big, long email about why I think I would be good fit for Nitro. And then I met him at the trade show, and he's let's keep this conversation going. That's when things were a little bit smaller. Our overall reach with Nitro wasn't quite as big, so they had to create some budget for it, So the next year, or that summer, I believe, I just kept in touch with Jeff, and I just kept checking in and whatnot. We had some impromptu interviews. He's like, what do you think your role would be? And I know he needed help because I had been down there to pick up product and whatnot, and he's there till 11 at night and whatnot. So I, said I would love to help with sales. I'd love to help you do whatever. I know there's a need for help down here. You're swimming. So we had that next interview, and he's like, you're going to have to talk to Ryan. That all worked out. I started working at Nitro, and just like Trevor was saying earlier, you can have any title you want, but it is all hands on deck. Now, so as we become a little bit larger, we're more defined roles. But at that point, it was everything. So just like at the shop, I was used to doing that. At the shop, you're everything. You're the warranty department. You're the customer service department. You're the maintenance. You're everything. So little Jeff and I and Pinner put our heads together and just put our heads down and started working our ass off. And one of our key things from the get-go was like, we need to revamp our sales force. So we started trying to find spots where we didn't have representation or had poor representation, and just tried to start filling those nicks. And that's an ongoing thing all the time. But at that time, it's like, there's this much business being done in this territory. We need a good sales rep there. So we slowly started plugging away at doing those things, filling those things, and it has just become a much larger operation now. We're all able to focus a little bit better. But those formative years, then Jack Stevens came in and helped us create even more of a solid base, and got to focus on separate things, and that just made us a little bit stronger. And overall, Ryan Willisco, Jeff Richards, Jack was an integral part of it. We've all really busted our ass. Kate Smerchinsky in Canada. We've all really put our heads together and busted our ass to try to grow this brand in the U.S. Canute does a huge part of it, and all of Nitro Europe as well. Those guys are incredible. Without them, they handle all the design, all the marketing, just all the outward-facing parts of Nitro. We handle a lot more in the U.S., but those guys give us the base to stand on. But I just love the culture. We go to these meetings and, Tommy is just hanging out. He's snowboarding with you. He's sitting there watching. They build these massive kickers, and Andy shows up with a snowmobile full of beer. Everyone's hanging out. Stax is hitting it right next to Marcus Cleveland, next to J-Mo. It's like just an incredible feeling. We all stay at the same hotel. We all get in trouble together. Sometimes things happen, and it's not the team riders. It's the owners and higher-ups in the company causing the problems. That's always refreshing.
Yeah.
But it's just an incredible atmosphere like we've created. Now with our sales force and our warehouse team and whatnot, we're just getting to a point where I think that we're just about to do some good things. And the culture is incredible. We have some new hires. Claire Turner is amazing. Jack Tordini is amazing. Shane Cash, our warehouse guy. This is one thing that was always a fault of ours. Jeff, myself, Jack, when we were doing everything, we didn't become accountants till April. Mm-hmm. We'd ship everything and dealt with all the problems, and all of a sudden we're like, oh no, we got all these outstanding bills. Now we got to become accountants. Mm-hmm. And Tony Anderson, we just hired him, and he has taken just so much off our plates. He is unfortunately and fortunately our collection and credit and accounts receivable department and accounts payable. So he pays all the bills too. And just having these new defined roles has allowed us all to thrive and focus a little bit more. But the culture is still community. We go golfing together. Like we go hang out and go skate. We go to each other's parties and whatnot. And it's just fucking awesome.
Yeah. I'd love to talk about that too. And a lot of times when somebody buys a snowboard, they don't know who owns the company. I think that's really interesting. Like the rider owned brands, where you have the person that owns the company. That's where the buck stops. That's the end of the road. Where a lot of the companies are owned by venture capital firms or whatever.
Yeah. Yep. Tommy Delago is the founder and still the owner. Yep. He has partners that help him do with everything, but Tommy is still the driving force. His hand touches every single snowboard. He is 100% in charge of snowboard design. Still, he works with all the team riders and, of course, the factories, and his relationship with the factories are incredible. He's been in the same factory for, I think, 25 years now. So he gets production done early. Other people's boards are made there, but ours definitely get made first. Mm-hmm. Which is incredible. But he's still got his fingers on everything. Like Griffin, now is slowly integrated into the crew as well. He is a year-round employee now. He's
design.
6 months pro, 6 months graphic design.
So rad.
And his hand, I'm sure you guys have noticed, his hand in the graphics has changed the feel of Nitro. Mm-hmm. We went from being a metal brand to a more awesome, like art-focused. Nothing by any means like where it's soft. There's still hard edge to everything, but just Griff's touch on every single piece is definitely noticeable.
Mm-hmm. Another thing about Nitro too is when you go on the website, you look at that team list. You guys support a lot of snowboarders. I don't even know how.
Jeremy was talking about that earlier, and then Trevor talked about it too, about team riders as opposed to influencers and whatnot. We don't probably send much to influencers because we do have such a large team. And the one thing I really like about it, it's not just U.S. team riders. We have a huge European contingent of team riders. And now they're slowly working on the Asian market to create a better, team additions in Japan and in China.
Yeah. And you got Seb Toots up in Canada. You got
Never forget Seb. Don't sleep on Toots.
You got people everywhere. Yeah, you got people everywhere. Totally.
Sean Miskimin and Matteo Massetti. Like, there's a whole emerging crew up there. And then there's like the older guys, all the freaking Wasted Youth crew.
Arrow.
Joel Lovren, like the Canadians. And then Arrow.
Yeah.
Longest standing pro alive or something. I have no idea.
Yeah. I mean, you can see it. It's one of the most... I don't know, impressive brands in a brand that I'd want to show respect to because of that. Like the team's huge, but they feel taken care of.
Yeah.
And there's not a huge budget to stretch across that team. It's
No.
wild to me that it succeeds the way that it does, but it's that component. There's more there. There's more there than this paycheck.
Yeah.
There's longevity there. There's good product there. There's family there if you want it. That family will support you all the way through. It's snowboarders.
Yeah.
There's snowboarders there. Like
100%.
all of them.
Yeah. Everyone in our office.
It's insane.
Snowboards their ass off. Mm-hmm. There's no one that's like, oh, it's my day off and it's a pad day. I'm not going.
There's no skiers either, dude.
No, absolutely
not. I'm not a total skier hater, but dude, like if you're a snowboard brand, we should be a snowboard brand.
Yeah.
Not run by a skier.
Also,
just straight up.
One thing as you were talking to, I was thinking about how much of a freak Canute is, man. That guy is a
I don't know how the fuck he
maniac.
does it. He shows up. He'll have been in China, lands here, still wakes up in the morning, gets everything together for a team shoot, does all the product videos. All of a sudden, he's like, oh, I'm leaving tonight at 4 a.m. I'm going to Europe, and then I'm going back to Canada. You're like, what fucking time zone do you live in? Like his head is in like
his forehead.
Worldwide. Yeah,
His forehead.
Luckily, his head's big enough to handle it all.
Yep. Yeah, and he shoots all those YouTube videos like out of the desert.
It's insane. He shows up and does that. He used to do it with like, Mo's helped him a few times. Jack Daw has helped the WEP. He doesn't like that name.
Yep.
Jack Daw.
The WEP. It's the WEP.
Jack Daw has helped him before with it as well. And it's incredible. Now, sometimes he does it on his own and he'll just show up, all of a sudden take over our office, take shit out of your office to like adorn the stuff behind him. You're like, where the fuck did my skateboard go? You go in there, he leaves it. So when he's gone, that little collage of stuff still up in the office.
Yeah. And he's got like 4 kids he's got to take care of on top of
And he will do like 85 product videos in 3 days.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I actually have no clue how. Yeah. It's impressive.
He is fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good crew you got over there. Also, Bob Plum's taking photos. That's got to be a tough deal.
Lots of touch up.
Yeah, a lot of touch up.
Lot of touch up.
Yeah, a lot of blurring.
Bob's getting way better. He's been in the office for a while, and it's insane. Like he used to ask, this is a classic Bob quote. I know you're busy, but that's how he starts as soon as he walks in the office. I know you're busy, but. He doesn't ask that anymore.
But
he's pretty damn good.
And he, you got to give it to him, like his efforts to L1 in the last few years.
Oh, he's been crushing.
It's unbelievable. And
as
that
much
just
shit
goes
as we like to give him, he works his ass
up.
off.
And that's a tribute to Nitro and how that passed that around to the other brands, and because L1's part of that family, and it's the same there. And Bob echoes that. There's no miss. You feel it all the way through.
No, he works hard. The only thing he's got to learn is when you're packing boxes, try not to do it in the lobby.
Yeah.
You just walk in and you're like, what the fuck are you doing? Why here?
Get it together, Bob.
We love you.
We got a Patreon question. Hit that one from Board Progression.
Yeah.
Check him out on YouTube if you haven't. And also thank you for supporting our Patreon, Board Progression.
Thank you so much. It's a 2-part question. Part 1. What was it like seeing the growth of snowboarding in the 90s and being more accepted at resorts? Part 2, if you could only skate or snowboard for the rest of your life, what would you pick?
Why one?
I know.
Growth in the 90s, I'm going to use a quote from Willie McMillan. It's better when they hated us. It was. Like, there was no part, like, it was ours. Like, they didn't want any part of it, and so it was ours. And it was really cool to watch gear go from, like, stuff weighing it's insane to pick up, like, that Craig Kelly board right there. If you were to pick it up, it's crazy how much it would weigh next to the board next to it. But just watching the progression of product was incredible. Like, every single year, the littlest things that would change would push progression so much farther forward, you know? Our bindings really sucked back then. They'd pop off, they'd break all the fucking time. Like, all the time. And then all of a sudden, like, bindings got better. They figured out the materials. Board side cut got better. Like, everything got better. So watching the progression, not only in participants, but in culture, there was a part of it that was cooler then. That movie Roadkill was one of them.
Yeah.
Like, if you watch that, you're like, holy shit, that's fucking something special. And snowboarding or skateboarding, that's fucking really tough. If I had a perfect skate park with snake runs and fucking long ass walls with coping on it that were smooth as shit, I'd say skateboarding. But give me fucking a beautiful groomed run and some pow to slash on the side, I'll take that too.
You gotta dodge the question, really.
It's kind of tough. Louis vetoed it. It's a little Louis veto.
It's a little bit of a dodge.
Yeah,
I mean, that's sort of
I would probably
unfair.
take untracked POW.
I would need
Know
more
your
to
audience.
the question.
Smart. Yeah.
Untracked POW.
Yeah, smart.
100%.
Untracked POW.
Know your audience.
Skateboarding's just fucking starting to hurt a little bit more.
Yeah, the hang up at 50 something. I'm sure the lean to tail hang up your trucks,
It's
fly to the flat
starting to hurt
bottom.
a little bit more.
But if you can still do it,
Yep.
Yeah.
But there is something good when you take a good slam on
That's
a
what I'm
skateboard.
saying.
That's what I always say about-
and you're like, oh, I kind of fucking needed that.
and I
That
can
was-
still take it,
Yep.
I'm good.
Yep.
Every sport I love involves crashing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I love them. Because making it is a fucking win.
One thing we forgot to mention is you have a nitro board. Do you want to? Should we go get it and put it on? Or you can put a photo of it on the screen.
Yeah, there's a picture on screen right now.
And we also have the book, the Layers book. Unless you're giving that, we already have one of those. So
Right here.
So a book and a board. How are we going to give these away?
So you're going to have to dive deep into Layers. You're going to enjoy the movie anyways. But from opening to credits, I need the name in sequence of every single person that speaks in the movie. Beginning to credits, to the first credit, every single person that speaks. You don't have to write down if somebody's already spoken, because Canute speaks a lot on it, so you don't have to keep doing that. But in sequence, beginning to end.
Where are we picking our winner?
YouTube comments. First person to get it.
Amazing. I love that. And then where can they find the Layers video if they haven't watched it?
NitroSnowboards.com.
Okay, awesome.
Sick.
Was it on Red Bull TV or YouTube?
It is on, I don't know if it's on Red Bull. It should be.
It is.
Yeah, it's on Red. I thought I watched it on Red
That's
Bull.
where I watched it.
That's where I watched it.
The entire catalog of Nitro, if anybody doesn't know, our partnership with Red Bull Media House is pretty insane. Every single video we've ever made is in the catalog of RedBullSnowboard.com. I don't know if it's .com, but Red Bull TV,
Red Bull
the
TV.
snowboard
Red
tab.
Bull TV.
Every single video we've ever made is on there.
Perfect. If you're looking for some good snowboarding, I hate the word content, but yes. All right, I love it. So we're giving away a board. We're giving away a book. Godspeed. Godspeed to whoever has to do that on Nitro's end. Who's gonna be the one keeping record of that? Intern?
I'm going to try to pass that along to Jack Tordini.
Jack, Godspeed. Jack might be our winner, actually.
But I will watch
Could be
the video
winner.
and make the list for him.
Okay. I like that. All right, let's keep it moving here. Hot takes. You knew it was coming, probably. First question. Your GOAT, your MJ, both male and female, greatest of all time. Who you got?
God, I thought of so many different people, but it's just super hard not to pick Travis. He's just like, he constantly impresses. That pillow stack that him and Austin did last year. Like, you're like, oh, he's done. And then his runs in the contests last year. And then to think about where he came from, you know, Travis Rice, 100%. From that fucking, was it a 110-foot back three at Super Park? What put him on the map?
Never stopped.
Till this past winter with that pillow stack video. It's insane to watch. You're like, they must be exhausted. The fact that they both fall over at the end is nuts.
Okay, female goat.
Zoe.
Who?
She does everything. She ticks everything. And then there's women that have done everything in the past, but Zoe right now is literally just winning. She's firing on all cylinders.
Okay, classifying snowboarding sucks, but we're going to ask this question anyway. Snowboarding art form, sport, or lifestyle?
Oh, shit. You added one.
Yeah.
Lifestyle, 100%.
Good ad. Yeah, good ad.
Yeah, thank you, Johan, for that. He gave me a unsolicited lecture about that yesterday.
Lifestyle, 100%.
Okay, who is the most underrated or one of the most underrated snowboarders you've seen over the years?
Temple Cummins. Woo. Does not get the shine out of the Northwest. He's always had sponsors, never really had an incredible video part. But the clips that you see of him, and look at his offspring. Holy cow.
I know.
Cannon Cummins. He obviously learned by watching his dad.
You always got to look at the offspring.
But Temple is just amazing. Just butter fucking smooth. It looks like it's always incredible to be at the bank slalom and watch people go down the course and they just look like they are battling. Like you're like, oh my God, it looks terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Then Temple comes down and you're like, is he hovering? He's like barely even moving. Everyone's like cutting the gate. He's just riding the banks high, cruising. It's incredible.
He's like that every time I've seen him, no matter where I've seen him.
Yeah, it's
no
just,
matter what he's doing.
And he just disappears off by himself.
I think his underratedness was probably self-inflicted.
Oh, for sure. He's a very shy person.
Yeah.
He doesn't like to be around people.
Next question, steel or powder?
Do you even need to ask him that? Steel.
Yes, obviously steel.
Oh, wait, sorry, Benny, that's for you.
Obviously steel.
Pow.
Okay.
All day.
Who's got your favorite style ever?
Oh, favorite style. I mean, it'd have to be Temp again. I just talked about it. Like, his just aren't this quiet movements, but with so much power. Like, so much power. He's not throwing his arms. He's just pressuring the edge, releasing. Incredible to watch.
Good call out.
Who's got your favorite method?
I'm staring at it right now. It's Jamie. Okay, there's
a lot of goofy footers coming up right now.
Okay, Jamie for Grasser style.
Mm-hmm.
Nicholas, 100% for Christian Asoy method. Back arched, just throwing it out there.
What's your favorite snowboard video ever made?
Transcendence or Vivid? Transcendence.
Wow. Great call.
Yeah.
Transcendence completely. They had you're like, how'd they get that shot? And then you see the after part and it's Scotty Sullivan up in a fucking zip line cruising down over this pillow stack in the Uintas. Transcendence for sure. I just loved the way their feel of the movies, the music choice. Like it was like a video that I could play at the store and I could listen to it again and again and again. Always an incredible choice. There's that one song with Willie Nelson and Toots and the Maytals. I don't know I think it's Giggy's part. Mm-hmm. It's fucking amazing.
And then there's the bunny scene at the end.
Oh God.
JP
So
Solberg.
best.
Yep.
With the Beatles song. They obviously didn't get clearance for that.
No fucking way. Okay, favorite board graphic ever made?
The Palmer clown. Woo. With the pointy nose and the little scallop tail. They should bring that exact shape back. It's like, it was
a good shape.
It's incredible. And it was still a twin tip. It was incredible. And the one right after the overhead view of the caddy.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that was right after, but the clown.
Yeah, the shape changed.
Yeah, it was round after that.
Yeah.
Okay, if you go heliboarding 3 people, good times, you got 3 seats available. Who's coming in with you?
Hetz. Probably Hetz, Temp, and Jamie. Woo. We got to snowboard with Jamie this year at Baldface, and he's just so fun to shred with. And he's so fun to listen to and watch and everything. It's an incredible day. You think he's saying something like so amazing, and he's just asking you what you're having for lunch.
Just mumbling.
Yeah. What's your sandwich today?
I just want to listen to him talk. You're just like, don't stop talking, please. Next question. Dream sponsor. Anything in the world?
Dream sponsor.
It'd be a bike company.
I was about to say Specialized.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Because the bikes are so fucking expensive. If I could have them forever, I'd get a new one every 2 years.
Get somebody.
And they'd get one of each kind.
Yep. You on the e-bike tip yet?
Oh, 100%.
Okay. Let's keep it moving.
Yeah.
Okay. New question. Impromptu. Favorite person to snowboard with?
Favorite person to snowboard with?
Oh.
You know who I always had some of the best fucking days with, and I totally miss it, and they were always incredible? Chris Engelsman.
Oh, yeah.
I've had some days with him that were just fucking magical. He shreds so fucking hard. Like, he's lighthearted and fun to be around. Chris
That's
Engelsman
awesome.
comes to mind.
Okay,
And we've had some magical days.
Last question. Worst trend?
Haters. Haters and just on segments of types of snowboarding. Skateboarding is like in such a cool place right now where everything, it doesn't matter if you're Grant Taylor or P-Rod, like everyone's fucking accepted and it's all working. Whereas in snowboarding right now, it's like it's very rail heavy crew thinks that the POW guys shouldn't get as much shine. The POW guys probably don't think that. Maybe they do, some of them. But just hating on different types of snowboarding.
Good answer.
Good answer.
Okay, we're going to keep it moving with setups. What do you ride and tell us about your setup, Benny?
Oh, shit. This thing. This is the Squash 153, the brainchild of Brian and Austin. And I don't know if Tommy had anything to do with the shaping of this, but this is the 10th year that it has been the exact same shape. They changed it 2 years ago, and I'm so in love with it that I'm just trying to stack as many as I can. It doesn't matter. The coolest thing about this board, it doesn't matter which year it is. They've all been the exact same board. So it doesn't matter if anybody else is a fan of the Squash out there. Doesn't matter what year you find, just get it. Whether it's the baby blue one, that's the original, or all the graphics after that looked a little more surf inspired. But this is the Milo collab that they had done. And there's just another big bird on the bottom. It's a 153. It's like the magical size for me. I do have the 56 and the 59 as well. So I ride those on different depths of days. There's other boards I ride, but this is my go-to every day. I ride women's bindings.
What size?
There's only one size in this binding. It's a small medium. And it's the highest end binding called the Poison, but then I put Team Pro high backs on it. And the reason I do that is because I have a size 8 foot and I am completely centered in that binding, as opposed to if I ride the small medium men's, then everything's like pushed in as far as it can go. And you know how it is. Your straps slowly stretch and your boots pack out. And next thing you know, you have no more room to ratchet anymore. And with these, there's always that extra click. I absolutely love it. I feel at home on that thing.
Forward lean?
You can hear it.
2 clicks. So it's 6 degrees in the beginning of the year, and when it starts getting softer and your boots break and everything gets softer, 3 clicks, 9 degrees. 21 and a half wide, 0 in the back, 18 in the front.
Ooh. Edges?
Fucking sharp as a nail. I don't fucking detune. I might rub it a little bit in the parking lot on the cement, just a tiny bit, but not much detuning.
Let's just talk about that. You detune by rubbing your edges on concrete? That's your technique?
100%. Jeremy used to run over his fucking snowboard boots with his car. He would drive over them super slow until they would like fucking just fold up. That's how he would break in his boots, drive over them.
You had to break it.
It seems like a good, that's good. You're going to be dealing with those warranty calls on those boots.
Yeah, so
now,
you
Benny.
detune with asphalt. It's the best detuner. That's about it.
Okay. And always freshly waxed.
Yeah, 100%. I'm a huge proponent of waxing. And I don't really tune that much anymore. I deburr and wax.
Deburr meaning a gummy stone down the edge?
Exactly. I just deburr like every day before I go up. Before I wax it, I just deburr it and wax it. But I wax probably every other time I go snowboarding.
Yeah.
That's actually really good for our listeners too, because like the deburring the edge, you're on your edge all day.
Mm-hmm.
It slows you down.
Yep.
Keep those edges fresh. They can be dull and fast or sharp and fast, but you don't want them to be.
Yeah, I only sharpen a few times a year.
Yeah.
It goes so much faster.
It does.
Yeah.
Deburr and wax.
Mm-hmm.
And once you get the setup at your house, waxing takes 0 time.
It cleans your base.
Yeah.
Makes your base
You can
harder.
be done with it
Makes
in
it faster.
15 minutes.
Yeah.
And if you're a big fan of the garage, like us three,
oh yeah,
you want more time in the garage.
Yep.
Or as Tim would say, the Raj.
The Raj.
The Raj. All right. What is next for Mr. Benjamin Pellegrino?
What is next? Just trying to do everything I can to continue to make Nitro a better place to work for all of us that are there, and just a better culture for us, and to grow the business. I want to be I don't necessarily want that many more stores. I want to become more important in the stores that we have. I want them to carry more of our products. You know, it costs you way more to start up with a new store with all the setup and the credits and whatnot. And like, if you have a good account, just try to grow within your account. So trying to do that more, get more categories of our other brands too. We also distribute L1 outerwear, Autumn headwear, and Ivy base layer, which is a women's specific base layer brand. So just trying to get those particular products in more of our existing locations. And then for me, just to age gracefully, man. Never stop. Fucking don't lose the passion. I still have it. Like I said, I need it. It's ingrained in my life. I have to go shred. I have to go skate, and I have to go bike.
That's it. Yeah. The fountain of youth explained.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that example. I mean, we're coming up on 30 years now.
I was thinking about that the other day. I think I met you in 1996 or 7.
Yep. And I mean, the examples of just like truly bleeding this and just participating, and the heavy influence and the waves that you've sent through the industry it's phenomenal. And there's very few that have had that kind of impact, especially kind of low key, like kind of behind the scenes. I mean, if you know, but you're not in the light. No one's seeing you, and
I don't need,
and you're one of the biggest players.
And shines and stuff,
Yeah.
Like, I mean, again, that's not the same one, but the rising tide lifts all boats. Like that's all I want. I want us as a culture to be elevated. I want us as a company to have, an easier time at work, a better time, a happier time. I want to create lifers.
It's still going.
Yeah.
It's still going.
That's it.
Thank you.
You're doing it. And lastly, before we wrap this thing up, Benny, do you want to throw out any thank yous?
My brother and George Johnson for getting me to come to Utah. My parents for being just fucking amazing and giving me to be the freedom as a fucking punk rock kid with pink hair and shaved head and whatnot, and not coming down on me so hard, appreciating my individuality. George for getting me the job at Milo, because I don't know, I was literally looking in the want ads for a job, and he's like, "You need a job?" And that's how I started at Milo.
No application.
Calvin Egbert for allowing us to do what we thought was right, and it worked out.
Yeah.
That was amazing. The Salt Lake community of snowboarding, for being such a special place and continuing to grow and becoming such an epicenter. But it seems like when everyone moves here, they're trying so fucking hard to make a name for themselves. Then we slowly just all become, friends and a culture. It's pretty cool to go snowboarding and see all the different people that have been through, even the people that are on the out fringes that are all still snowboarders that we hang out with. But just Salt Lake community for being such a vibrant and awesome place to be. My lady, Tori, she fucking is amazing. Our 2 kids, Evie and Drake, are fucking amazing. You guys for doing this. It's fucking special, man. It's like I bleed this shit.
No doubt.
I'm happy to be here.
Well, Benny, we appreciate all that you do for snowboarding, all that you do for your friends, all that you do for the culture, the lifestyle, everything for the past 100 years or however long you've been doing it.
Yeah,
but seriously, thank you.
Seriously.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jones. Thank you, Silk. Thank you to all of our sponsors, all of our listeners that tune in, our little Bombhole community, all of our Patreon members. We appreciate you guys so much. And that's it. Silk, you want to do the sign off?
Sure, I'll give it a shot. Thank you so much for watching. Over and out from the Bombhole.
Yow!